subscribe, like the video, and, if possible, join Patreon. But if you don't have much money, you can support the channel by watching the novels on euroaudiobooks.com. Remember that you can participate in the polls so that your favorite novel gets published for free.
Aggrievedly. After a little hesitation, Yi Hongchen also walked to Elder Shui's side. The group of people walked forward mightily, and then the crowd seemed to explode. It turned out that the Lord of the Night Palace personally led the team, and that stunning woman is still the apprentice of the Lord of the Night Palace. The most important thing is that the silver-faced killer is still the companion of the Night Palace Master's apprentice. Alas, he actually used his footsteps to board. Just do you want that Night Palace Master apprentice to see you can kill Lu Ying of the Sword with a single move? Let's talk about it. Sura, you wait for me. Yi Hongchen just stopped, and a small voice suddenly entered Yi Hongchen's ears. Yi Hongchen turned his head indifferently, threatening a little girl in the late congenital stage. If he was afraid, he would not be called Yi Hongchen, and he was not worthy of being the cultivation base of the Middle Golden Core, pill-holding realm. Palace Master Knight, let's start. The formation of this ruin has been weakened. Let's take action together, so we can. A middle-aged man at the peak of the late Jindan period looked at Yi Tianjue and said in a deep voice, "No, I'll do it alone." Yi Tian never waited for the middle-aged man to finish speaking and interrupted him directly. In the next moment, a terrifying purple giant sword appeared directly above the pyramid. As soon as the giant sword appeared, the sky was covered with dark clouds, and purple thunder and lightning appeared from time to time. Feeling the pressure from the purple giant sword, everyone in the field could not help holding their breath except Yi Hongchen. Here, Palace Master Knight. If it can't be broken with a single blow, I'm afraid this formation will strengthen again. Seeing Yi Tianjue's attitude, the face of the three powers of Jianmen, Elephant Sect, and Qingyan Mountain couldn't help changing. This formation becomes weaker. It is because they have spent some considerable price to weaken it. Don't worry, if it can't be broken, my Juechen Palace will provide resources to your formation mage, so that they can continue to break the formation. Yi Tian glanced at the three people in power absolutely coldly, and his words were full of indisputable words. Now that Yi Tianjue had said so, what else could others say, and could only get away and let Yi Tianjue break the battle alone. Purple Thunder Sword Fight Break. Yi Tian Hunger Strike pointed his finger at the pyramid and said in a deep voice, "Hoo hoo hoo." In the next moment, a powerful force of thunder fell from the sky in an instant, bombarding the pyramid. Boom, boom. Thunder attacked to the periphery of the pyramid and was immediately resisted by a blue barrier. Only after resisting the power of these thunders, the barrier was obviously dimmed, as if it was about to dissipate. Fall. As Yi Tianjue's words fell, the purple giant sword suspended in the sky suddenly fell quickly. The location is impressively the spire of the pyramid. Bang! As soon as the tip of the great sword fell on the barrier, the blue barrier was immediately pierced like a piece of paper, and the purple giant sword is still pressed towards the spire of the pyramid, and it is fiercely on top of the spire. Boom! In the next moment, a powerful blast of air rushed over instantly. The entire Qingyan Mountains are shaking. Except for Kai Yi Tianjue, no one can resist this rushing air current. All of them have been rushed back a few steps, and some people have even been rushed away. It lasted a full minute. Chapter 0126. Identity revealed. Yi Hongchen opened his eyes for the first time, even earlier than the leaders of the three first-class forces. Entering the goal, it was an earth-red pyramid, exuding a bloody smell, which made Yi Hongchen a little uncomfortable. In this pyramid, I am afraid that no less than 500,000 people have died, right? Or 1 million. Yi Hongchen murmured, "Call." In the next moment, Yi Hongchen only felt a gust of wind blowing. Even if he was a master of the mid-level golden core holding pill stage, he was completely imprisoned at this moment. Can't move. Yi Tianjue, in a black long gown, suddenly appeared in front of Yi Hongchen, a pair of dark black eyes staring at Yi Hongchen tightly. In the next second, the silver face of Yi Hongchen's face was directly taken off by Yi Tianjue, and Yi Hongchen had no resistance at all. Of course, if Yi Hongchen used his eyes to contain 30% of the power of the sky, I am afraid that Yi Tianjue would turn into lime at this moment. The mask was taken off by Yi Tianjue, and Yi Hongchen's handsome and extraordinary face suddenly appeared in Yi Tianjue's eyes. Sure enough, I knew you weren't dead. Looking at Yi Hongchen, Yi Tianjue felt mixed, and his voice even trembled. Yi Hongchen ignored it, and the imprisoning power locked on him had disappeared the moment his mask was taken off. Quickly took the silver noodles from Yi Tianjue's hands, and Yi Hongchen put them on without leaving a trace. Broken. This protective array is broken. Just after Yi Hongchen put on the silver face again, Jimin's master Su Wenjiu shouted in surprise. Others also slowly opened their eyes under the blow of Yi Tianjue, seeing the blood-red pyramid all in a mood. Even if it was Yi Lingyun in the palace of Juechen, the two geniuses of MO, Rand couldn't help but get a little excited. Lord Knight Palace, you should organize it or explain the rules for entering this ruin. Looking at Yi Tianjue, who was still standing in front of him and looking at him, Yi Hongchen's eyes were flat and calm, and said lightly. Listening to Yi Hongchen's slightly alienated tone, Yi Tianjue wanted to stretch out his hand and touch Yi Hongchen's head, but stopped in Yi Hongchen's plane, like a stranger's eyes. Speaking of which, since Yi Hongchen can remember, he hasn't really touched the head of the Knight Hongchen. Thinking of this, Yi Tianjue's mood couldn't help but fell, but he quickly packed up. As the palace lord of Juechen Palace, he still has this point in the city palace. Everyone, according to what I've gotten, this secret realm can only be entered from the late stage of the acquired to the peak realm of the late Jinan stage. And if the age is not more than 20 years old, if they do not meet this condition, they will each step back 20 steps. Yi Tianjue returned to the forefront, staring at everyone blankly, and said coldly. After Yi Tianjue's words fell, a bunch of people began to back up, and after a while, only 40% of the original number stood still. Even if they're not reconciled anymore, what can they do? Yi Tianjue's identity and cultivation base didn't have to lie at all. It can only be said that they have no relationship with this ruin. Enter in the order of strong to weak, and the people from Juechen Palace, Jianmin, Vientiane Sect, Qingyun Mountain, and Tianyun Kingdom go in first. As soon as Yi Tianjue's voice fell, he punched out again, like a random punch, in front of the pyramid. The next moment, a black hole suddenly became black and lacquered, and there was no way to see what was inside. Ruins Passage. Here, I'm reminding you that after entering the ruins, it's up to your fate. Think about it before entering. Yi Tianjue said coldly, looking at the eager crowd. After speaking directly towards Yi Lingyun, Mo, Ran, and others nodded, indicating that they could go in. Chapter 0127. In the ruins, Yi Hongchen followed the disciple of Juechen Palace. Although the disciple of Juechen Palace saw him a little doubtful, he didn't say much. On the contrary, it was that Ning Shui who also followed Yi Hongchen and walked behind Juechen Palace. Why didn't he go to the front? Yi Hongchen felt a little puzzled when he saw this. After all, Yi Tianjue had revealed Ning Shui's identity in person. The disciple of Palace Master of Juechen Palace personally passed it on. I don't know them, and walking in front of them makes me look high and arrogant. Ning Shui looked very humble. You are a direct disciple of the Knight Palace Master. Can they still know you? Yi Hongchen continued. This question is also his question. He also came to this world somehow, and has been in this world for nearly half a year. But I have never seen such a disciple as Ning Shui, or his chief father's disciple. Although I am a disciple of Master, I like freedom, so I don't stay in Juechen Palace, so I don't know it naturally. On the contrary, it is you. What did the Master tell you just now that you are not dead? Why? Do you know my Master too? After Ning Shui finished speaking, she looked at Yi Hongchen with nice and big eyes. She had been standing next to Yi Hongchen before, so she heard something from Yi Tianjue, but she didn't understand it. Yi Hongchen glanced at her, shook her head slowly, and said lightly, I'm not familiar with you. What are you doing next to me? After finishing speaking, he happened to come to the passage of the ruins, went straight in, and disappeared in front of Ning Shui's eyes. When Ning Shui heard Yi Hongchen's words, She was taken aback for a moment. After seeing Yi Hongchen in, she hurriedly walked into the passageway of the ruins. Looking at Yi Hongchen, who had disappeared, Yi Qianju couldn't help but a trace of loneliness flashed in his eyes again. Yi Hongchen's mother died early, and his requirements for Yi Hongchen were extremely harsh. Otherwise, Yi Hongchen would not have this cultivation level at a young age. And, different from ordinary people's minds, among the ruins, a black light appeared among the ruins full of dim light. At the next moment, Yi Hongchen appeared directly in a white coat, right on top of a pile of broken stones covered with weeds. Looking at the ruins ahead and no one, Yi Hongchen frowned slightly. It seems that this ruin channel is teleported randomly, and I and them are not a teleportation point. Call. Just as Yi Hongchen had just finished speaking, a black light appeared again behind him, and Ning Shui, dressed in white, suddenly appeared behind Yi Hongchen. Well, this guy is a teleportation point with him. Well, Shura, you didn't wait for me. Ning Shui gritted her teeth angrily when she saw Yi Hongchen. Come on, there is no Night Palace Master here. Provoke me. Be careful, I will XXO you directly. Yi Hongchen said faintly, and he stunned Ning Shui directly. Sura, where is this? Ning Shui looked at the sky. All were dim yellow, and the place they were in seemed to be the ruins of a city, so she couldn't help asking. Hearing this, Yi Hongchen almost rolled his eyes and said angrily, How do I know? I just came in too. Boom, boom, boom. At this moment, the ruins at the feet of Yi Hongchen and Ning Shui suddenly shook, as if something was about to come out underneath. Yi Hongchen's toes lightly touched the stone, and a faint blue light burst out of his body, which suddenly appeared on top of another ruin. Ning Shui felt the shaking under her feet and used her body skills to come to Yi Hongchen's side. Chapter 0128. The Horned Gorilla. When Ning Shui just came to Yi Hongchen, the ruins where they were before suddenly exploded. Boom! A red orangutan, with a monster beast like a horn on its head, broke through the ruins and stood up from under the ruins. After Yi Hongchen and Ning Shui blocked the ruins flying over, they couldn't help being stunned when they saw the scarlet orangutan. The blood-red skin, the hair, and the horns on its head. This is a horned gorilla. Its power is infinite, and it can be ranked in the top 50 in the list of monsters. Yi Hongchen looked at a scarlet orangutan. A memory recorded by a monster suddenly appeared in his mind and muttered, What? This is a horned gorilla? This is too much luck. Ning Shui didn't know this monster at all, and she remembered when she heard Yi Hongchen's words. Horned gorilla. That is a monster that has become more and more courageous, and it was very violent, with thick skin and thick flesh. After feeling that the horned gorilla only had the cultivation base of the late congenital Tiangang realm, Yi Hongchen looked at Ning Shui with a smile. This horned gorilla only has the cultivation base of the innate late-stage Tiangang realm. I leave it to you. I haven't reached the Tiangang realm yet, Yi Hongchen said, picking up a stone casually, and, just after speaking, he directly threw the stone in his hand at the horned gorilla. Light as a swallow. At the same time, Yi Hongchen moved his feet, and his whole person suddenly came to the roof of an abandoned house. Roar! The horned gorilla was smashed by Yi Hongchen's stone and suddenly became angry. He hammered his fierce mouth with his fist angrily, his eyes bursting with red light. Looking down, as a result, a woman wearing a white gown suddenly appeared in its eyes. Sura, you're $1,000. Ning Shui couldn't help but yelled at the cowhide and furry that the horned gorilla looked at. No matter how angry Ning Shui was at the moment, the horned gorilla slapped it with a big fist. Boom! In the next moment, Ning Shui was directly smashed into a huge pit. Even the ruins that seemed so hard and hard could not stop this power. Will you die? Yi Hongchen couldn't help but feel a little embarrassed looking at the dusty pit. As a disciple of Yi Tianjue, if Yi Tianjue knew that he killed his apprentice, Ning Shui knew what would happen. Yi Hongchen just wanted to take a look, but a white shadow suddenly appeared in front of Yi Hongchen's eyes. Hum! In the next second, a sound of swords rang into Yi Hongchen's ears, and Yi Hongchen instinctively avoided it. Ning Shui's figure suddenly appeared in Yi Hongchen's eyes, and Yi Hongchen was staring at Yi Hongchen with a white sword in her hand. Sir, I killed you. Looking at Yi Hongchen, Ning Shui's eyes were red, and the next moment, a blue thunder suddenly flooded the sword. This swordsmanship is her. Yi Hongchen looked at the thunder on the sword body, and his heart couldn't help, but he suddenly thought of the silver-faced killer in the capital of heavenly clouds. It turned out to be you. I didn't expect that. No wonder you would target me. Yi Hongchen still had a faint smile on his face. Regardless of whether Yi Hongchen knew her identity at the moment, Ning Shui said with murderous intent, "Go to death. Call." When the words were over, Ning Shui directly killed Yi Hongchen again, and thunder sounded. A blood-red light appeared on Yi Hongchen's hand, and he casually grabbed it in front of him. Catch Ning Shui's long sword with unparalleled precision, so that her sword won't score anything, and she can't take it back. But the thunder on the sword body could not help Yi Hongchen. All was cut off by the blood-colored spiritual power. What? You want to kill me with your trickhorn, Kung Fu? Chapter 0129. See how you kill Solo, why? With your trickhorn skill, you still want to kill me? Yi Hongchen looked at Ning Shui. With a slight force in his hand, he immediately snatched Ning Shui's long sword. Get it back to me. Ning Shui didn't expect Yi Hongchen to seize her sword suddenly, and suddenly became extremely panicked. It could be said that more than half of her strength lies in the sword. Without the sword, she can't even beat the people of the Qi Gang realm in the early innate. Hearing this, Yi Hongchen carried the white long sword behind her, with a slight smile on her face, and said jokingly, "If you have the ability to get it yourself." Hearing that, Ning Shui rushed directly to Yi Hongchen, and regardless of the occasion, she actually went to snatch Yi Hongchen's white long sword behind her back. And Yi Hongchen also used her body to escape. Even if Ning Shui's body was clever, she could be avoided by Yi Hongchen without leaving a trace. Return to me. Otherwise, I will tell Master you bullied me when I go out. Ning Shui threatened with a fierce gaze when she saw that she really couldn't get the sword back. Roar! At this time, the horned gorilla was already standing behind Ning Shui. After Ning Shui's words fell, he roared and punched. Hearing the roar of the horned gorilla, Ning Shui remembered her situation and suddenly turned around a little slowly. What caught the eye was the big fist of the horned gorilla. That's it. Was miserable by Shura. This was Ning Shui's last thought, and she even forgot to use her body technique to avoid it. Yi Hongchen had just appeared on the other side, and when she saw that Ning Shui was about to be punched by the horned gorilla, the blood core in her body instantly passed a strong spiritual power. The light blue light on his body reappeared, and with a move of his feet, he had already come to Ning Shui's side. Only his afterimage was left in place. Open flow. Just when Ning Shui was about to be hit by the horned orangutan, Yi Hongchen rushed to him, and he swung out a sword, and a red sword suddenly flew towards the horned orangutan's fist. Boom! The sword energy only stopped the fist speed of the horned gorilla, and then continued to hit. But Yi Hongchen had been prepared long ago. After all, some of the spiritual power that was temporarily used at the time could have this effect in his expectation. Holding Ning Shui's hand with one hand, she moved her feet again and directly led Ning Shui out of the attacked area. Boom! It was originally a ruin, but now it was punched by the horned gorilla, and it suddenly turned into powder. Why didn't you hide? You can hide from your body just now. Yi Hongchen looked at Ning Shui with questions in his eyes. It's not that you took my sword. Otherwise, I can kill it solo by myself. Even though Ning Shui agreed with Yi Hongchen's words, she couldn't lose face and stared at Yi Hongchen. Yi Hongchen let go of Ning Shui's hand and put the long sword in Ning Shui's hand directly. Moving his feet, he had already gone far away. Then I want to see how you singled it out. After Yi Hongchen appeared in the distance, Ning Shui suddenly heard his words. Roar! The horned gorilla behind him seemed to know that he had let the two ants slip away and roared again. This time the roar seemed to have a mental attack. Even if Yi Hongchen stood far away, his head was still shaken, and the line of sight in front of him was shaken. Even Yi Hongchen was stunned for a second, let alone Ning Shui. He only felt that the sky was dim. At this time, when Ning Shui felt that there was darkness in front of her eyes, a golden light was scattered on the big fist of the horned gorilla, and it hit Ning Shui. Chapter 0130. Ning Shui's disbelief seeing this. Yi Hongchen couldn't help but cursed in his heart, just wanted to go over again to save this little vegetable chicken Ning Shui. Thunder surrounds. The next moment, Ning Shui's voice suddenly sounded, and behind her, there was a burst of blue thunder, forming a mask, the sky cover. Bang! The punch of the horned gorilla directly touched the thundering sky cover. It did not press Ning Shui. Sura, let you see today the true strength of my Ning Shui. Ning Shui slowly turned around, looked at the horned gorilla who was dozens of times bigger than her, and said to Yi Hongchen, "Call." After speaking, the thunderous sky cover on Ning Shui's body suddenly disappeared, and the fist of the horned gorilla fell straight down. When Ning Shui took advantage of the horned gorilla's fist to fall, her body jumped up and jumped onto the horned gorilla's arm, rushing toward the horned gorilla's face like a rock-climbing wall. The other hand of the horned gorilla slapped Ning Shui, who was running on his arm. Ning Shui's figure is extremely flexible. No matter how the horned gorilla is driven away, she can avoid it, and soon she came to the neck of the horned gorilla. Take a leap. Ning Shui's whole body was directly on the same level as the top of the horned gorilla's head. Slowly raising the white long sword, she was stuck in the sky at this moment. Ben lay sword. As Ning Shui lifted her lips lightly, a touch of blue lightning was wiped across the yellow sky. Boom! A blue lightning flashed across the sky, accurately and quickly hitting her long sword directly. The white sword is covered with blue thunder, flashing back and forth, dazzling. The thunder sword technique uses thunder and lightning as a guide, the sword body as a conductor, plus its own speed and strength. It can be completely indestructible. After Yi Hongchen saw Ning Shui using the lei sword technique again, he seemed to have some comprehension in his heart and muttered, "Hum." After Yi Hongchen's words fell, Ning Shui, who was stranded in the sky, immediately held a long sword and quickly passed through the eyebrows of the horned gorilla. Although only the center of his eyebrows was attacked by Ning Shui, the whole body of the horned gorilla trembled. It seemed that the whole body was energized. Bang! The horned gorilla fell heavily to the ground, and even the ground cracked a few cracks. Ning Shui's figure moved, and she suddenly appeared in front of the fallen horned gorilla with a pale face. It was obvious that the sword just now consumed a lot of her spiritual power, but she didn't feel the slightest frustration. Instead, she looked at Yi Hongchen with a smile on her pale face and said, "How about?" saying that a single kill is a single kill. Yi Hongchen heard the words and shook his head slightly, because he did not take out the blue long sword from the storage ring. It is the star sword. Afterwards, his feet gently touched the ground, and Yi Hongchen rose into the sky. The star sword was lifted to the sky by Yi Hongchen, and the five-pointed stars sunken and suddenly lit up with a burst of blue light. Seeing Yi Hongchen's posture, Ning Shui's smile, who was still a little proud, gradually solidified, and her pupils shrank slightly. Can it be? Ning Shui couldn't believe the thought in her heart when she thought that her heart was filled with this thought. Ben lay. The corner of Yi Hongchen's mouth raised and said slowly. Although the voice was small, it was completely heard by Ning Shui, and her thoughts were lost. Boom! Above the dim sky, a thunderbolt suddenly descended, hitting the star sword in an instant. The blue thunder is entwined on the blue sword body, and the terrifying power exudes. Roar. Chapter 0131. Learning from you, Roar. At this moment, the horned gorilla who had fallen behind Ning Shui didn't know when he stood up and roared. In the next second, a pair of huge double heads unexpectedly closed, lifted above their heads, and slammed them at Ning Shui in front of him. And Ning Shui turned her head when she heard the roar of the horned gorilla. What catches the eye is the big fist of the horned gorilla. The terrifying pressure directly pressed Ning Shui's body, causing her knees to bend down involuntarily. Not to mention that she still wants to use her body skills to dodge it. Even if it is a move, it is extremely difficult. If she was really hit by the horned gorilla, she might have turned into a meatloaf. Unfortunately, when the horned gorilla just moved, Hongchen had already seen it, and that's why he stayed in the air now. Hongchen held the star sword with blue thunder and flew towards the pair of horns on the head of the horned gorilla. Above the dim sky, a blue ray of light crossed. Like the whole world, only this ray of light was left. Puff! Puff! Hongchen's sword directly pierced the pair of horns on the head of the horned gorilla and came behind it. In an instant, he swung a sword again, and a thunder sword rushed to the neck of the horned gorilla in an instant. Open flow. Puff! The next moment, a huge head flew directly into the sky, and the body of the horned gorilla lay weakly on the ground again. Hongchen's feet moved again, and a light blue light appeared on his body. Before the horned gorilla's head had not fallen off, appeared in front of it, cut out his sword again. The head of the horned gorilla turned into two halves under the sword of Hongchen. A blood-red demon core appeared in the air. Hongchen caught it with one hand and fell to the ground lightly, standing in front of Ning Shui, holding a blood-colored demon core larger than Hongchen's head in one hand. The star sword was carried behind him, smiling, looking at Ning Shui. And this series of actions did not exceed 3 seconds. Hongchen actually used a sword technique, a sword style. As soon as the crisis was resolved, Ning Shui looked at Hongchen, standing in front of her, her mouth opened wide, as if she could lay an egg. "You Shura, how can you run, Thundersword?" After a long time, Ning Shui recovered, looking at Hongchen and asked. At this moment, she kept praying in her heart that Hongchen would have realized this swordsmanship. Otherwise, she really couldn't accept it. Just now, a red light appeared from the Shura ring in Hongchen's hand and directly collected the demon core of the horned gorilla into the ring and added a sentence at the end. "I learned it from you." Hearing Hongchen's answer, Ning Shui's head seemed to be struck by thunder and lightning, leaving it blank. After Hongchen finished speaking, he walked straight ahead because there was a ruined city full of weeds. After Ning Shui came back to her senses, she hurried up and looked at Hongchen with an expressionless expression. In the end, it still didn't say anything. Entering the abandoned city, Hongchen knew that the city inside was really a truly abandoned city. All houses are overgrown with weeds. Even the ground is cracked, and weeds grow tenaciously from the cracks based on life. "Stop!" After leaving for a while, Hongchen, Ning Shui suddenly heard a stern voice in front of him. Hongchen frowned slightly, but continued to move forward. After all, it's been so long, and it's hard to hear a person's voice, so I naturally want to see it. Soon, the situation ahead suddenly appeared in the eyes of Hongchen and Ning Shui. Chapter 0132. The protagonist's opening speed. 2 people wearing purple gowns with a black border on their shoulders were surrounded by 8 young men wearing white gowns with small swords at their mouths. The 2 men wearing purple gowns with fringed shoulders are a boy and a girl, judging by their costumes. Astonishingly, the inner disciple of Jiuechen Palace. By coincidence, Hongchen knew both of them. The male's name is Yi Bufan, and the female's name is Yin Qingshui, both from Luoyang City. Moreover, that Yi Bufan was still the son of this plane, and Yin Qingshui had a knight with him, worthy of being the protagonist. The girl who has had a relationship with him so soon. The girl has such a good relationship. Hand over the map. Since you are the disciples of Jiuechen Palace, we don't make it difficult for you. Surrounding Yi Bufan, Yin Qingshui's people are indeed the people of Jianmen. One of them said in a deep voice, a young man who was in the late stage of Tiangang realm cultivation. "Why do I have to give you the map? I got this first." Yi Bufan naturally wouldn't give in so easily and said not poorly. "That's right, brother Fan. If it weren't for them to rely on a large number of people, there is a heavenly gang realm we can definitely escape with the 2 of us." Yin Qingshui on the side also raised his head and said to the disciple of Jianmen, Yi Hongchen heard their conversation and couldn't help but probe their cultivation. Good guy, Yi Bufan didn't know what medicine he had taken, and he had cultivated from the lowest realm of the acquired stage to the cultivation base of the Qigong realm in the early innate stage. As for Yun Qingshui, her cultivation level has also risen a bit quickly, and she has also reached the Qigong realm in the early innate stage. And the people surrounding them are all in the middle congenital earth gang state. And there is also a celestial gang state. Although his realm is high, his combat power is not estimated to be that of Yi Bufan. Yun Qingshui is high, and his age is close to 20. You guys don't know how to praise? Shameless. But the Night Palace Master said, coming here, life and death are commonplace. After seeing Yi Bufan and Yun Qingshui, both of them didn't give him face. The young man in the Tiangang realm of Jianmen had cold eyes. Huh. As the leading youth words fell, the other 7 Jianmen disciples drew their swords one after another, facing Yi Bufan and Yun Qingshui. When Ning Shui saw this, although her face was pale, she still stood up and said coldly, "Are you trying to kill me in front of me?" Yi Hongchen frowned as soon as he heard Ning Shui's words. He didn't want to care about it. After all, it was Yi Da's protagonist's business. If he can really have an accident, then there will be ghosts. But as soon as Ning Shui said what he said, he knew that this matter had something to do with him. This is the personal disciple of the Night Palace Lord, and her partner, Shura. The young man in Jianmen heard this, and then discovered Yi Hongchen and Ning Shui. Since you know me, why don't you get out? Ning Shui embraced the fierce with both hands. Although her face was a little pale, she still had an extremely tough attitude. Just when the young man headed by Jianmen was about to leave, the disciple next to him suddenly approached him, seeming to be saying something. Although they spoke very quietly, with Yi Hongchen's cultivation base, how could he not hear it? All that was said was that Ning Shui's face was pale, and Shura couldn't see it while wearing a mask. But he must have experienced a hard fight before, and they had a chance to get a map. Sure enough, the headed young man Luo Fan looked seriously at Xia Yi Hongchen and Ning Shui, and his eyes suddenly became extremely hot. Now that you are the disciple of the Night Palace Master, how about a sword comparison with me? If I win, I will leave immediately, and I will never disturb. Chapter 0133. Another kiss. Now that you are the disciple of the Night Palace Master, how about a sword comparison with me? If I win, I will leave immediately, and I will never disturb. Unexpectedly, Luo Fan's disposition was also cautious. He didn't make the first move. Instead, he wanted to test whether Ning Shui really had no spare capacity. I'm afraid I will get my hands dirty when I start with you. Shura, beat them down for me. Of course, Ning Shui knew her state at the moment. There was no spiritual power in her body, and it was impossible to win Luo Fan in full state. Sister, regardless of your business, the map is in my hands. They want the map to be my challenge. When Yi Bufan heard Ning Shui's words, he raised his head fiercely and said to Ning Shui. As a result, he was directly kicked on his stomach by a Jianmen disciple, arched his waist, and did not stand upright for a while. Ha. Boy, do you still want to fight against our senior brother Luo Fan? Surrounding Yi Bufan, Yun Qingshui's Jianmen disciples suddenly laughed and gave thumbs up to the disciples who kicked Yi Bufan, and that disciple looked awkward. Seeing this situation, he couldn't help but smile triumphantly. As for why he looks awkward, that's because his foot is Yi Hongchen's moving hands and feet. He just couldn't understand Yi Bufan's behavior, and he was very uncomfortable. Okay, then you come a fight with me, beat me, and we will leave immediately. Luo Fan didn't say anything when he heard the words. Anyway, he could test it out anyway. Yi Hongchen didn't look at Luo Fan, but instead looked at Ning Shui beside him without saying a word. Just help me. Just take it. Just take advantage of me before. Just forget it. Ning Shui saw the resistance in Yi Hongchen's eyes and couldn't help blinking at Yi Hongchen and whispered, "No, 1 yard goes to 1 yard." Yi Hongchen refused without giving any face. "Then what are you going to do?" Ning Shui's expression was a little ugly, Isn't she looking for abuse when she fights Luo Fan in this state? Yi Hongchen slightly pointed his index finger to his lips and said with a faint smile, "Here is another sweet kiss." Sura. Seeing Yi Hongchen's frivolous appearance, Ning Shui really wanted to slap Fei's silver face on Yi Hongchen's face. "Of course, if you're scared, leave now. Don't worry about our business. There's no problem." At this time, Luo Fan's indifferent voice sounded. Ning Shui glanced at Luo Fan, and then at Yi Hongchen, who was still pointing to her lips. Her face flushed. "Can't you wait? Are you rushing to reincarnate in such a hurry?" Ning Shui directly cast her anger on Luo Fan. After speaking, he lifted his toes directly, and some pale lips were immediately printed on Yi Hongchen's pale red lips. It's like a dragonfly hitting the water. It's on the verge of triggering. Despite this, Ning Shui still felt that her face was hot and the roots of her ears were red. When Yi Hongchen saw it, he didn't say anything. After taking a step forward, his hands were folded and a flat voice came out. "I'll give you both hands." Arrogant. Luo Fan yelled angrily when he saw that Yi Hongchen didn't put him in his eyes so much. The next moment, Yi Jian lifted up, and the long sword suddenly turned red. A rush of heat radiated from his sword, and a sword quickly pierced Yi Hongchen. "Take me a sword, fire and sword, call." Yi Hongchen looked at the long sword that pierced him. His eyes were still incomparably flat, without a trace of fluctuation. When Luo Fan was about to stab him, his feet moved, suddenly appeared on Luo Fan's left side. No one saw Yi Hongchen's movements at all. Luo Fan had already flown upside down. Chapter 0134. Swordsmanship Boom. Luo Fan flew out directly and was heavily pressed on a house wall that had been abandoned for an unknown period of time, and the whole house suddenly collapsed. Yi Hongchen didn't know when he stood beside Ning Shui again, shook his head slowly, and said, speaking so arrogantly, "I thought it was proportional to my strength. I didn't expect it. It was so unbearable. Okay, so strong. That late congenital Tiangang stage didn't even touch his clothes." Yin King Shui, who stood beside Yi Bufan, looked at Yi Hongchen and couldn't help muttering a little. Hearing this, Yi Bufan looked at Yi Hongchen deeply, clenched his fists, and muttered, "One day, I will be so strong, even stronger than him." Unfortunately, Brother Yi, after watching Yi Hongchen talk with Ning Shui, Yin King Shui couldn't help but sigh inwardly. Ning Shui looked at Yi Hongchen and shook his head in disappointment, and couldn't help but give him a white look, and said, "Don't you just kick into the sky all at once? What's so good about it?" "Oh, then you come and try." Yi Hongchen raised his brows, bewildered. Bang! At this time, Luo Fan, who was buried in the pile of stones, broke open the pile of stones at once. His complexion was extremely ugly, and the long sword that had returned to its normal appearance pointed to Yi Hongchen. "Kill! Kill me! Kill him!" Hearing Luo Fan's words, the other 7 swordsmen suddenly changed their plans to continue to attack Yi Bufan and King Shui, and they all killed Yi Hongchen together. "Kill me? Are you worthy?" Yi Hongchen looked at the 7 who had killed him, and the star sword lifted slightly. Boom! The next moment, a blue thunderbolt hit the star sword directly, surrounded by thunderlight. What? How could he know our swordsman's swordsmanship? How is this possible? This Shura must have been from our sword sect before, or learned it secretly. Stealing? That is our swordsman's heavenly low-grade swordsmanship. There are only a handful of people in the gate. As soon as they saw the thunder surrounded by Yi Hongchen's star sword, the Jinmen 7 were directly frightened and stopped immediately, not daring to rush towards Yi Hongchen. As the swordsmen, they're undoubtedly the kind of people who know the best swordsmanship of Benlei. It is a trivial matter to be caught in the thunder, and a little carelessness is a major matter of losing your life. This guy, the swordsmanship learned from me, is used to show off. It looks even better than me. Upon seeing this, Ning Shui's pale complexion was a bit ugly. It was really annoying to compare people to others. You guys, he is already injured, even if his combat power is still high, but he won't save 5. Let's go together. Luo Fan was extremely furious when he saw that his 7 sword sect junior brothers were shocked when he saw Yi Hongchen use the lei sword technique. When the words fell, Luo Fan directly became a pioneer, and suddenly two people who were the same as him appear beside him, holding a long sword and killing Yi Hongchen. Oh, 10 doesn't say 5? Then let you try. Yi Hongchen chuckled lightly after seeing the three Luo fans killing together. The next moment, the whole person suddenly disappeared, appearing in front of the three people in the middle of Luo Fan like a ghost. The star sword lit up with a blue light, and a sword glow instantly appeared on Luo Fan in the middle. Boom! That Luo Fan directly turned into a cloud of smoke, completely dissipating in Ning Shui, Yi Bufan, and Yun King Shui before the eyes of the 7 Jin men. That is a fake. Haha, you have been recruited. Manshui is swordsmanship. The two sides of Luo Fan Kiki were all big and small, and there was a burst of water on the sword, and he slammed into Yi Hongchen, who was standing in the middle. Yi Hongchen turned his head, looked at Luo Fan on the right, and smiled jokingly. Oh, really? Chapter 0135. Ning Shui pulls up a team, really? As Yi Hongchen's words fell, a crisis suddenly rose in Luo Fan's heart. Call. The next moment, a blue light appeared in his eyes. The long sword in his hand suddenly shattered. Not only that, as the long sword shattered, Luo Fan also saw a headless body, and he was very familiar with his eyes. He also held a long sword with only the hilt broken in his hand. Isn't that his body? That was the last thought in Luo Fan's mind. Yi Hongchen stood behind Luo Fan's headless body. The star sword in his hand was still emitting blue light, and the thunder was still surrounding the sword. The original two Luo fans also completely disappeared, and they had no heads. He killed senior brother Luo Fan. He was not injured. Run. Seeing that among the 8 of them, senior brother Luo Fan, with the highest cultivation level, escaped after being under Yi Hongchen's hands for no more than 10 seconds. Run? Did you run away? Yi Hongchen saw it, smiled slightly, eyes full of killing intent. Light as a swallow, Yi Hongchen, who was originally behind the 7 disciples of Jianmin, came directly in front of them, like a ghost, appearing directly next to one person after another. As long as he leaves that person, a sword mark appears directly on his neck, then fell to the ground. What? Until the last sword sect disciple screamed. Yi Hongchen returned to Ning Shui's side, and the Xingqian sword was quickly taken into the Shura Lord of the Rings by him. Yun King Shui and Yi Bufan couldn't help being stunned when they saw the swordsman who had chased them all the way. Well, this Shura is too strong, right? Killing Earth Gang Realm, Tian Gang Realm is as simple as drinking water. Yun King Shui looked at Yi Hongchen, who was wearing a silver face, and couldn't help but said in admiration. She has always admired the strong, especially the strong like Yi Hongchen. Also, if he is a cultivator of the Golden Core stage, he should be famous on the mainland. Even Yi Bufan's heart is full of frustration at this moment. After all, one who can enter this ruin is never more than 20 years old. In other words, this man wearing a silver mask is 20 years old at best. Let's go. Yi Hongchen looked at Ning Shui and said lightly, as if he had just done something trivial. Although for Yi Hongchen, this is really trivial. Where did I know that Ning Shui ignored her, and instead walked towards Yi Bufan and Yun King Shui? Junior brother and sister, why don't you follow me all the way? Don't worry, you won't be bothered by people like these anymore. While facing Yi Bufan, Yun King Shui said, and Ning Shui pointed at the body of the Jianmin disciple with her finger. Yi Bufan and Yun King Shui glanced at each other, nodded one after another without refusing. By the way, senior sister, we got a map by accident. Yi Bufan seemed to have thought of something. He took out a wool roll from his sleeve and handed it to Ning Shui. When Yi Hongchen saw this, he didn't say much. Anyway, this is not a bad thing. Following the protagonist can usually trigger his aura. Damn it! According to the original plot, shouldn't this ruin appear for Yi Bufan? Yi Hongchen suddenly remembered something, looked at Yi Bufan, and said in his heart, "It is the most normal thing for the protagonist to get some chance. Sura, come and take a look." These dangerous areas are actually marked on the map. When Yi Hongchen was thinking about things, Ning Shui waved towards Yi Hongchen. Really? Chapter 0136. I'm used to being alone. Oh, really? Yi Hongchen immediately moved next to Ning Shui when he heard the words. Ning Shui was shocked by the sudden appearance of Yi Hongchen and couldn't help but shouted a little excitedly. Sura, could you please say hello next time you show up? Yi Hongchen ignored the spear and directly took the sheepskin roll in Ning Shui's hand. The first area, the second area, the third area. In the map, there are a total of 12 areas. 2 areas are gray, 8 areas are red, and 2 areas are green. We judge by color. The red one should represent the danger zone. The gray one is the ruin zone, and the green one is the safe zone. When Yi Hongchen was looking at the map, Yin Qingshui on the side leaned over and said, pointing to the area on the map. Yi Hongchen turned his head and glanced at her, put the map away, and slowly said, then we are in the gray area between the 2 areas, and there's a red area in the west, which is the 6th area. Having said that, Yi Hongchen walked to the right. Sura, where are you going? Ning Shui couldn't help asking as she looked at Yi Hongchen. Go and see if it's a dangerous area. Yi Hongchen said without looking back. Ning Shui's expression suddenly became a little embarrassed when Yi Hongchen didn't give her face so much. Senior sister, let's go too. The map is on Brother Shura. When Ning Shui was slightly embarrassed, Yi Bufan walked to the side of Ning Shui and reminded him. Oh yes, I'm so sorry. Shura and his fellow are just like this. Upon hearing Yi Bufan's words, Ning Shui directly descended down the stairs given by Yi Bufan. After waiting for Ning Shui and Yi Bufan to walk more than a dozen steps together, seeing Yin Qingshui still stunned in place, Ning Shui couldn't help shouting, Junior sister is gone. Oh, Senior sister is here. Yin Qingshui regained consciousness and said hurriedly, it's really strange. The smell on Shura's body is the same as that of Senior Brother Yi. Isn't it true that the smell on Master's is the same? Yin Qingshui was puzzled when she thought of the scent she smelled just next to Yi Hongchen. The 6th area, after Yi Hongchen, Ning Shui, Yi Bufan, and Yin Qingshui came here. They had left the abandoned city and came into a desert. From time to time, a gust of hot wind blows up the earthy desert, which is unbearable. This is the red area. It looks like a dangerous area. Ning Shui walked to Yi Hongchen's side, paused slightly, and said slowly, yes, I also went to another red area with Senior Sister Yin earlier, but there were too many people and a melee, and I couldn't participate at all. Yi Bufan walked to Ning Shui's side and said helplessly, hey, it's not that Brother Yi has offended too many people. Yin Qingshui said somewhat helplessly. Indeed, he had just worshipped into the palace of Juechen for more than a month and a few days, and had just been promoted to the inner sect. In Juechen Palace, there are too many people who see him upset, and there are even some people who want to kill him. So when entering the ruins, no one teamed up with him at all. Only Yin Qingshui was annoyed by other male disciples and came to team up with him. So he didn't dare to intervene in those fights at all. His cultivation level was still very low after all. Yi Hongchen turned his head slightly and glanced at Yi Bufan beside Ning Shui, and the Shura ring on his finger suddenly lit up with red light. The wool roll map appeared in Yi Hongchen's hands, handed it to Ning Shui, and said lightly, here you are. I am used to going alone. Chapter 0137. The treasure appears. After all, we are not familiar. After speaking, Yi Hongchen glanced at Ning Shui with blue eyes, and a light blue light floated on her body. Call! In the next moment, Yi Hongchen disappeared suddenly, and a white figure suddenly lit up above the desert, and then disappeared again. As for why he left, it was because Yi Hongchen felt that he couldn't integrate into them at all, and it was not as easy as being alone. Hey, Shura, where are you running? Ning Shui shouted toward the white figure gradually dissipating in the desert. Yi Bufan was also confused and had no idea why Yi Hongchen left suddenly. Only Yin Qingshui looked thoughtful, but did not say anything. After Yi Hongchen left Ning Shui and the 3 of them, he hurried straight ahead, acting extremely high profile. Every step he took, blood-colored spiritual power directly impacted the ground. This is too much dust, right? Yi Hongchen couldn't help but feel a headache looking at a yellow halo in front of him. A blood-colored mask suddenly appeared, directly covering Yi Hongchen's whole person. Tiangang cover. As soon as the Tiangang cover came out, the dust that had washed on Yi Hongchen's body was immediately isolated. Call. At this moment, Yi Hongchen clearly heard a strong wind. That is the strong wind that is affected by spiritual power. When he moved his feet, he flexibly avoided the rushing wind. Bang! A black dagger directly hit the original Yi Hongchen's position and thrust into the ground heavily. Yi Hongchen raised his eyes, and a teenager in a black gown caught his eye. Obviously, he threw the dagger just now. Seeing that he couldn't get a hit, the boy in the black gown turned around and ran without hesitation. Attack me and want to run? Yi Hongchen's eyes were cold, and his toes lightly touched the dusty ground. The whole person is like a cheetah, quickly catching up with the boy. Dragon Shadow. Yi Hongchen leaped slightly and kicked directly behind the boy in the black gown. The boy suddenly came to eat shit, face to the ground, and melted out. When he wanted to stand up again, Yi Hongchen directly stepped on him again with a foot. Don't kill me, don't kill me. Before Yi Hongchen could speak, the teenager stepped on him, suddenly shouted in fear. For fear that he would lose his life for a while. Oh, then allow you to kill me, not allow me to kill you? What do you think? Yi Hongchen suddenly felt a little funny when he heard the words. He exerted fierce force under his feet, and the ground suddenly sank into a bit. Don't kill me, I'll tell you a secret, don't kill me. The boy suddenly shouted after feeling the pressure on his body was increasing. Yi Hongchen said lightly, Speak, as long as it works for me, I will let you go. We found a strange treasure in the front, but it is protected by a strange beast, so the brother asked me to come here to intercept others and prevent them from passing. Exotic treasure? Where? Yi Hongchen frowned. Exotic treasure. That is something spiritual. The black-clothed boy raised his hand, pointed in the direction behind Yi Hongchen, and whispered, Can you let me go? Okay. Yi Hongchen took his feet away from him, said in a very refreshing voice, and walked in the direction he pointed. The next moment, a bloody sword aura flew towards the black-clothed young man who had just stood up and immediately cut the young man's waist. The boy's eyes were open, and he was lying on the ground feebly, as if he couldn't catch his eyes. But soon, the floating dust scattered, directly burying his body. I let it go. You can't run away. You can't blame me. Chapter 0138. The real Shura appears. Yi Hongchen walked in the direction that the black-clothed boy pointed, and soon, a green forest appeared in his eyes. From time to time, a few spiritual powers spread out, causing his white gown to swing back and forth. Yi Hongchen slowly took off the silver mask and put it in the Shura Lord of the Rings with a thought move. A dazzling red light burst out of his body. When the red light faded, Yi Hongchen was originally dressed in white, and a pair of red and black battle armor had appeared on his body. On the shoulders, there is also a big mouth with a big mouth, which is decorated like a gluttonous head, and the black cloak rises in the wind behind him. Holding a half-red and half-black mask in his hand, it can only cover the area above the nose. Shura battle armor. After Yi Hongchen put on the evil mask, he smiled and murmured softly, The real Shura has appeared. Jean Dan, which was originally half blue and half red, suddenly turned into a color, blood red. According to the cultivation method in Xiaoluo's evil Qigong, it is also possible to cultivate with blood qi, and there is only one side effect. It is easy to be bloodthirsty by collecting evil qi in one body. But Yi Hongchen has changed a little more. It can absorb spiritual power and only absorb the pure. Even the evil spirit is eliminated. So, logically speaking, this side effect is equivalent to no. In the oasis, a man in a black robe was fighting with an oil green python. The battle was quite fierce, and the black robe of the black robe man had many gaps open, and blood overflowed. Several holes were opened in the body of the green python, and green blood was also flowing out. Damn it, I don't believe that Li Hongfei, my dignified Qingyan mountain, will not be able to win against a monster. After Li Hongfei was hit by the giant python's tail again and knocked down a tree, his eyes were red and he shouted fiercely. The next moment, the black spear in his hand was lifted above his head and turned quickly. Flaming Lion, Li Hongfei yelled, his whole body soared into the sky and pierced the giant python's yellow eyes as big as a lantern. Wow! A lion appeared on Li Hongfei and turned out, roaring to kill the giant python. Hiss! Unwilling to show weakness, the giant python opened his mouth and a burst of green liquid flew towards Li Hongfei. Boom! Li Hongfei, who was directly transformed into a lion, completely cut off the liquid and continued to kill the green python without any reduction. Beast, I see if you die this time, Li Hongfei secretly said as he watched the green python getting closer. This is Li Hongfei. A red glow suddenly appeared in front of the green python's eyes. The next moment, a man wearing a red and black armor with a red and black mask on his face suddenly appeared. What? Seeing the person who appeared suddenly, Li Hongfei was furious and secretly cursed the young man who was guarding the road. Here comes Yi Hongchen. Seeing Li Hongfei who had killed him, his complexion remained unchanged, and he even raised his fist and hit Li Hongfei. Is he going to die? Damn it! How do you fight that brute this time? Upon seeing this, Li Hongfei was secretly mad in his heart. This blow, but used all his strength if it does not hit the giant python guarding the foreign treasure. What if he killed this person who appeared suddenly? He has to leave here. A huge lion confronts Yi Hongchen's petite body. The unexpected result has appeared. There is a burst of blood on the lion's body, and the next moment, Li Hongfei slammed directly to the ground, and Yi Hongchen, still standing in the void, motionless, only the cloak behind him fluttered. Chapter 0139 Heaven and Earth Spirit Treasure Boom. Above the green area, Li Hongfei smashed a big hole fiercely, and the phantom lion on his body gradually disappeared. Here, who is this guy? Looking at the standing Yi Hongchen above the sky, Li Hongfei slowly closed his eyes and fainted gloriously. Punch! Yi Hongchen was just an ordinary punch. Li Hongfei, who was in the late congenital Tiangang realm, used his assassin, but was knocked out. And this is under the circumstances that Yi Hongchen did not use martial arts. Even Yi Hongchen couldn't help but feel a little puzzled at this moment. He looked at his fist and, thoughtfully, could it be that this Shura armor can increase its strength? Without waiting for Yi Hongchen to think about it, a pressure suddenly came from behind him. A flash of blood. Yi Hongchen appeared directly on the other side, facing the green python behind him. The oppressive force just now was caused by the green python's tail swept down. Roar! Just when Yi Hongchen turned around, a big mouth suddenly caught his eye. The green python wanted to swallow him alive. Light as a swallow, the blood light flashed again, and Yi Hongchen came directly behind the green python, clenching his hand into a fist. Dragon fist. Boom! Yi Hongchen fisted fiercely on the huge snake body of the green python. Hold head high. A dragon chant sounded from the body of the green giant python. In the next moment, the giant python's huge body had many cracks, as if the ground was broken. Yi Hongchen moved his feet again, and he was already on the ground 20 meters behind the giant python. Boom! A sound like the sound of a cannon rang from behind Yi Hongchen. The body of the giant python actually exploded. Green blood splattered. Yi Hongchen didn't pay too much attention to the green python and put all his thoughts in front of him. In front of him, there was a small tree with a faint green light. On the tiny branches, there are 3 flaming red fruits. The shape is similar to the heart shape. This, it turned out to be a soul fruit. Yi Hongchen muttered with excitement as he looked at the fruit in front of him. Divine soul fruit. As the name implies, a kind of heaven and earth spiritual treasure that can enhance spiritual power. And mental power is extremely important, whether it is for martial arts practitioners, alchemists, or tool refiners. It is very important because the cultivation base is easy to rise, but the spiritual power will not become stronger as the cultivation base increases. It needs to be tempered step by step and cooperate with some exercises. Only then can the spiritual power be improved, and it is not as much as the spiritual power. It is very rare. Yi Hongchen moved his feet. A red light lit up, and he suddenly appeared in front of the little tree. He took the 3 soul fruits from the tree at random. Yi Hongchen swallowed one without hesitation and threw the other 2 soul fruits into the Azura Lord of the Rings. The soul fruit melted in the mouth, and an extremely powerful mental force immediately impacted Yi Hongchen's sea of consciousness. Yi Hongchen sat cross-legged and immediately started the Shura evil Qigong, not refining, but forcing these spiritual powers into the sea of knowledge. Because of his predecessor's pride, he didn't have any spiritual cultivation techniques in his mind, so he could only push into the sea of knowledge first. 1 minute later, Yi Hongchen slowly opened his eyes, and the line of sight in front of him became clearer. Even Li Hongfei, who was lying on the ground in a coma, could see very clearly. It seems that we have to find a way to cultivate spiritual power. Yi Hongchen muttered, feeling the spiritual power transformed into a pile of mist in the sea of consciousness. Princess, look, where's a person lying? It seems that he has experienced a fierce battle. Chapter 0140. The one who pretends to be the relic. Princess, look, where's a person lying? It seems that he has experienced a fierce battle. At this time, Yi Hongchen suddenly heard a sound, followed by a sound of footsteps. Yi Hongchen pointed his toes on the ground, and suddenly came to a tree beside him, revealing a pair of blue eyes from a mask. Princess? Apparently, he should be from the heavenly cloud nation. As soon as Yi Hongchen's words fell, Lu Lin suddenly walked in a bunch of people. It is estimated that there will be 14 people, each of whom is wearing a uniform orange gown, except for the man and woman in the front. Because the color of their clothes is not orange, but golden. The color is more gorgeous than the other 12 people. A group of 14 people came in and saw Li Hongfei lying on the ground in a coma. He immediately surrounded him, his expression extremely solemn, and the headed man slowly said, "This person should have just fallen down. Everyone should be careful. Maybe there are still people." "Yes, Prince." Hearing the man's words, the others immediately responded. And now Yi Hongchen on the tree heard the words. The corners of his mouth rose slightly, and he muttered, "Be careful. Is it useful?" When the words fell, a blood-red light burst into Yi Hongchen's body. This appeared directly on the tree. In front of the 14 people, a light of blood lit up and immediately attracted the attention of all of them. "Beware!" Tang Ming pulled back the girl who looked younger than him and hurriedly shouted. The next moment, Yi Hongchen, wearing a red and black body armor and a red and black mask on his face, suddenly appeared in front of them. Hoo! In the area where there was no wind. The wind was turned up at this time, and the cultivation base of the middle golden core holding pill realm was released without reservation. Happiness. Yi Hongchen clapped a pair of slender hands together and looked at the 14 people panicked in front of him, showing a wicked smile. Unexpectedly, there are still so many people here who enter this 6th area. I haven't tasted blood for a long time. In the end, Yi Hongchen seemed to stick out his red tongue and licked his dry lips as if to match his meaning. After hearing Yi Hongchen's words, the 14 members of Tianyun Nation trembled, and a wave of fear rose in their hearts. He turned out to be a person in the ruins. Although they had come across monster beasts one after another along the way, there was no one after all. But now, everything in Yi Hongchen's words means that he is the person in the ruins. The cultivation base of the golden core stage holding the pill realm. The people in this ruin are so powerful. The headed Prince Tang Ming said solemnly, holding a long sword in his hand, revealing the cultivation base of the middle congenital earth gang state. "You protect the princess from leaving. I'll stop him." "No, Prince, you're going to go with the princess. If you want to go, we stay." Hearing Tang Ming's words, the 12 people standing behind him were suddenly dissatisfied. They walked up to Tang Ming's front and took out their weapons. Although the girl beside Tang Ming was full of fear in her eyes, she also agreed, "Yes, Brother Wang, let's go together." Sister Wang. Tang Ming looked at Tang Yun, her eyes full of complicated colors. Well, in fact, you don't have to be so entangled because you will all die here. Upon seeing this, Yi Hongchun didn't have the slightest feeling of compassion in his heart. After all, to enter this ruin, he must be conscious of death. Otherwise, what chance do you come here to find? When the words fell, Yi Hongchun's body burst into red light, and the sound of swords rang into Tang Ming, and Tang Yun's brothers and sisters were in the ears. Chapter 0141 Spiritual Power Techniques. Yi Hongchun, wearing a red and black Shura armor, stood directly in front of Tang Ming and Tang Yun's brother and sister. And there seemed to be only one voice in their ears, and that was the sound of swords. At the next moment, a bloody sword light suddenly appeared on Tang Ming and the 12 people from the Heavenly Cloud Nation in front of the two Tang Yun brothers and sisters. Puff! In the next moment, a scene that made Tang Ming and Tang Yun disgusting appeared. The 12 famous Qi Gang realm of their Heavenly Cloud Nation, the people of the Earth Gang realm, their bodies were all turned into two halves. Bright red blood splattered everywhere, and even Tang Yun's pretty face was blushed by blood. Seeing the blood red in front of him, Tang Yun couldn't help but fell to the ground in a panic. Even Tang Ming, the prince, his face was extremely pale at the moment, and even the hand holding the sword was trembling slightly. Powerful. He didn't even see Yi Hongchun's movements. His subordinates and friend were just killed in seconds. You two are left. Or do you do it yourself? Yi Hongchun carried the Xingqian sword behind him, but he didn't rush to kill the two of them. Tang Ming looked at Yi Hongchun wearing a weird mask, gritted his teeth slightly, and said solemnly, "Okay, suicide." Yi Hongchun said nothing, but the smile on his face became more obvious. Tang Ming slowly raised a long sword, approaching his throat, his head low, and Yi Hongchun couldn't see his face at the moment. You dream. The cloud comes. When the long sword was about to touch his throat, Tang Ming shouted, and a burst of white light floated on his sword. The next moment, a sword swung towards Yi Hongchun. Yi Hongchun didn't even move because of Tang Ming's sword. He didn't feel threatened at all. Boom! The white light suddenly exploded in front of Yi Hongchun, forming a thick white fog, directly blocking Yi Hongchun's sight. When Tang Ming swung this sword, he turned around quickly, hugged Tang Yun, and ran in the direction of the entrance. Run? How can you run away? And how can you run away from my Yi Hongchun's eyes? After Yi Hongchun felt the two auras walking away, the blue light in his eyes flickered, and the star sword behind him swiped at will. It's just using the spiritual power in the blood pill, a simple sword. Above the blue star sword, blue light appeared, and a burst of blood-colored sword light flickered in the white fog. In the next moment, this white fog body was completely smashed away by Yi Hongchun's random sword. And Tang Ming just ran dozens of steps with Tang Yun. Call! A strong wind hit Tang Ming head-on, and Tang Ming was directly rushed by the strong wind without any exception and fell to the ground. Yi Hongchun stood in front of Tang Ming. His eyes under the mask were indifferent. Don't kill me. I am the prince of Heavenly Cloud Nation. I can give you whatever you want. Looking at Yi Hongchun, who was tall and tall, Tang Ming's face was extremely pale and said hurriedly, "He is a prince with a noble status, so naturally he doesn't want to die so soon." Originally, Yi Hongchun didn't care, but thinking of the spiritual power in the sea of consciousness, he couldn't help but stop the next step and said in a condensed voice, "Oh, do you have a spiritual power cultivation technique?" Some. Tang Ming heard this. His expression of fear suddenly became pleasantly surprised, and the storage ring in his hand lit up with a white light. The next moment, a yellow bamboo slip suddenly appeared in Tang Ming's palm. Yi Hongchun waved his hand, and the bamboo slip flew directly in front of him and slowly opened it. Chapter 0142 The Ant and the How Yue Destroy. When Yi Hongchun opened the bamboo slips, Tang Ming had a killing intent in his eyes and directly pierced Yi Hongchun's abdomen with a sword. As a prince, he is naturally not a fool. He doesn't believe that people like Yi Hongchun will let him go after they get what they want. It's better to ask for yourself. Go to hell. At such a close distance, Tang Ming couldn't kill Yi Hongchen even if he didn't believe it. Call. The long sword pierced Yi Hongchen's body, and even Tang Ming passed through Yi Hongchen's body at night. What? Cannot feel any sense of touch. Tang Ming's heart was shocked before he had time to change direction and leave. A blue sword body passed through his fierce mouth directly from behind him, and a mouthful of blood spurted out of his mouth. Puff! Standing behind Tang Ming, Yi Hongchen slowly pulled out the star sword, looked at the blood on the sword body, raised his fingers, and lightly drew it across the sword body. The blood was directly wiped out by Yi Hongchen, and the star sword regained its blue body, crystal clear. You can even see the mask on Yi Hongchen's face and a pair of blue eyes from above the sword. As for Tang Ming, lying heavily on the ground at this moment, with his eyes wide open, he was completely exasperated to death. Yi Hongchen bowed down, took off the ring from his hand, and placed it in the Shura Lord of the Rings. After all, it is a prince, some savings are still useful. After doing all this, Yi Hongchen turned her gaze to Tang Yun, who was still sitting on the ground, but she passed out when Yi Hongchen pierced Tang Ming's body with a sword. All the princes are killed. It doesn't hurt to kill another princess, Yi Hongchen muttered while looking at Tang Yun. The next moment, Yi Hongchen drew a sword to Tang Ming's neck, when, as a result, a burst of blue light actually lit up from her body, and she stubbornly resisted the sword of Yi Hongchen. Body protector, Yi Hongchen said in confusion. The spiritual power in his body suddenly surged. The 3 5-pointed stars on the Xingqian Jinjian lit up with a burst of red light, and the force pressing on the blue light became heavier and heavier. But the blue light did not weaken at all, and even the light became deeper and deeper. Yi Hongchen raised the star sword. A blue thunder suddenly descended from the sky, bombarding Yi Hongchen's sword. Ben Lei's swordsmanship. The star sword once again fell towards the blue light on Tang Yun's body. Boom! When Yi Hongchen used the lower rank martial arts, the blue light finally cracked a crack. It's so hard. At this moment, Tang Ming, who had fainted suddenly, opened his eyes, and the dark black pupils turned blue. In the next moment, a powerful airflow directly pushed Yi Hongchen away by 8 steps. 8 steps! Yi Hongchen had just stabilized his figure, and Tang Ming, who should have been lying in front of him, had already stood up, looking at her coldly. A junior in the mid-gold pill stage, holding the pill stage. Delusional to ruin the body of this seat. Do you want to die? Tang Ming said coldly, and the area in front of Yi Hongchen seemed to be distorted. A powerful air current, invisible, untouchable, but Yi Hongchen can feel it and is rushing towards him. Open flow. Yi Hongchen held the star sword in his hand and swung it again. A blood-red sword aura flew out of the blue star sword and flew towards Tang Ming. When passing through a distorted space in front of him, it disappeared inexplicably. It's like being hit hard. And also worthy to compete with Hao Yue. Seeing this, Tang Ming said coldly again. The next moment, a green light appeared from her index finger instantly, shooting towards Yi Hongchen. Come on, I want to see who is the ant and who is Hao Yue. Chapter 0143. You are an ant, and I am Hao Yue. Come on, I want to see who is the ant and who is Hao Yue. Looking at the green light rushing over, Yi Hongchen's eyes condensed, and his feet moved. Light as a swallow. Call. Yi Hongchen swiftly snatched this green light, and in the next moment he came directly to the left side of Tang Ming. Rushing. When Yi Hongchen stabbed Tang Ming with a sword, the blue light was still able to block his sword. Oh, the speed is quite fast. Tang Ming glanced at Yi Hongchen beside him and shot out with a palm. Yi Hongchen disappeared again, and that palm fell to the ground, and he literally cracked the ground in front of him. Yi Hongchen appeared on the other side of Tang Ming, and once again the blue light that fell on her with a sword. Boom! This blue light shattered directly after Yi Hongchen's sword fell. Tian Lu style. Yi Hongchen quickly raised the star sword, and a powerful air current appeared directly on Tang Ming. He just flew her up. What? I was able to comprehend the mood or the mood of the wind. Tang Meng was floating in the air, feeling the powerful air current on his body, secretly horrified. Wind waves soared. On Yi Hongchen's star sword, all five five-pointed stars lit up. The next moment, a sword is swung out. Boom! From the distance between Yi Hongchen and Tang Meng, a terrifying air current appeared directly. Even the space was distorted. Yi Hongchen couldn't see Tang Meng at all. It seemed that she was round. Bang! The next moment, being dragged by the air current, Tang Meng, who was suspended in the air, suddenly exploded. Arms and so on, all scattered around. Just can't find a complete body part. Boy, I remember you. Destroy my fleshly revenge, and I will report it another day. Above the sky, a green ball of light appeared in the sky, and a cold voice came from it. Ants, the points of how you have already appeared. Yi Hongchen ignored her words and said instead, Huh. A cold snort came from the green light group, and the next moment, it suddenly turned into a burst of green light and disappeared in Yi Hongchen's eyes. It's a pity there is no scabbard, otherwise she must be given a trick to draw swordsmanship. Yi Hongchen shook his head slightly, feeling that the blood core in his body had used 30% of the spiritual power, and looked behind him. The 13 people of Tianyun Nation were all lying on the ground, motionless. Yi Hongchen lifted his hand, and a bloody spiritual force was injected into the body of the 13 people. The 13 people who were originally lying on the ground suddenly floated in the air, swaying randomly in Yi Hongchen. Bang! At the next moment, the 13 sounds suddenly sounded like a bomb exploding. The 13 corpses suspended in the air were all exploded. The strange thing is that the blood turned into blood water, and then a blood mist was formed, which continued in the sky, and could not disperse, nor could it fall to the ground. After Yi Hongchen found a concealed place, he pulled the blood mist over and started the Shura, evil Qigong. The blood mist, like aura, penetrated towards Yi Hongchen's body. 10 minutes later, Yi Hongchen opened his eyes slowly. The blood pills in his body were fully recovered, and a bamboo slip suddenly appeared when his mind moved. It was the spiritual power that was obtained from Tang Meng, the king of the cloud, who practiced the exercises that day, and it was destroyed. The IQ of the person who created Transcendence Ju is a bit low, and he can even reach the lower rank of the profound rank. After turning around for a few times, Yi Hongchen couldn't help but feel a little disgusted. To practice this kind of mental power technique, it would be better to refuse Chan Palace to find one casually. Those are all local products. Forget it. If you change it, you should still be able to cultivate. Chapter 0144. Improving spiritual power, forget it. If you change it, you should still be able to practice. Yi Hongchen shook his head slightly and looked at the wax Siju in his hand again. Mental power can be used to detect, attack, practice alchemy, and practice objects. Then I will focus on probing and attacking and create a spiritual power technique. Thinking of this, Yi Hongchen pondered a new spiritual power technique leisurely on the premise of referring to Huami Ju. Finally, the effort paid off. Yi Hongchen spent half a day relying on his powerful memory to create a spiritual power technique. He named it the Soul Immortal Divine Art. Try the effect. Yi Hongchen thought of the way he had just done, and threw the desired Ju in his hand and closed his eyes. Know the sea, the spiritual power that was originally like a haze. As Yi Hongchen penetrated in, those spiritual powers suddenly gathered. In the next moment, the sea of consciousness, the size of a small private room, is expanding at a speed visible to the naked eye. And those hazes also formed a mass of white fog. And as the sea of consciousness expands, the color of the fog becomes lighter. Boom! Yi Hongchen only felt that if he had been blown up, the whole person was a little muddled. His mental power has broken through from the mid-innate period to the late-innate period and is rapidly rushing towards the peak of the late-innate period. No, the only mental power in the sea of consciousness is running out. Yi Hongchen murmured slightly after seeing that white fog body was nearly indistinguishable. At the next moment, the two soul fruits appeared directly in Yi Hongchen's hands, and Yi Hongchen ate them all without any hesitation. According to the previous method, Yi Hongchen once again used the blood pill in his body to bring the spiritual power contained in the soul fruit to the sea of consciousness and practice again. Boom! After a while, there was another bombing sound in Yi Hongchen's sea of consciousness. The peak of the late congenital period, the spiritual consciousness sea, which was originally only the size of a small private room, has now become the size of a basketball court. Although it was still small, it was already huge for Yi Hongchen. But in the sea of knowledge, the white fog is still very rich, and Yi Hongchen has a feeling that this spiritual power can completely make his spiritual power step into the golden core period. Do what you want. Yi Hongchen's mind sank into the sea of knowledge again. And just as Yi Hongchen continued to refine the spiritual power in the sea of consciousness, the sixth area, after Yi Hongchen left, Ning Shui, Yi Bufan, and Yun King Shui were surrounded by scorpions one after another as soon as they entered the desert. Even if they killed one after another, they can still run into it today. It's so annoying. I really don't understand how Shura walked so far in such a place. After once again jointly killing a purple midnight scorpion with a pill-holding cultivation base, Ning Shui sat on the desert a little tired, sweating. Ning Shui didn't know that the reason why Yi Hongchen was able to walk so fast was because he had distributed the golden core stage cultivation base. These low-powered monsters would not dare to trouble him at all, unless they were too alive for a long time. And the biggest reason why they were attacked by so many monsters was because of Yi Bufan, the protagonist. Sister Ning, let's go. The more dangerous the place, the greater the chance. If you stay here, it will be troublesome to wait for the scorpions to come again. Yi Bufan felt that there was not much spiritual power left in his body, and his heart was very silent. In his state, if another monster beast of the innate early stage came, he would have to run away. Boom! What is really afraid of? Yi Bufan's boy, a pillar of soil, suddenly rises on the ground. Chapter 0145. Spiritual power breaks through the golden core stage boom. In front of Ning Shui, Yi Bufan, and Yun King Shui, a big purple scorpion suddenly appeared. It is 3 floors high, and the huge tail behind it looks terrifying. A pair of scarlet eyes were staring at Ning Shui, Yi Bufan, and Yun King Shui. No, this is a purple electric poisonous scorpion. It is extremely poisonous and can control lightning. When she saw this huge scorpion, Ning Shui was frightened and jumped up from the ground. Her face that had just been ruddy turned pale again. Not only that, you look around us, we are surrounded. Yun King Shui looked at the side. Her body trembled a little and hurriedly shouted. And all around them were covered with small purple scorpions, all around them, and they just refused to let them out anyway. Sura, if I die, you just wait to be entangled by me. Ning Shui couldn't help shouting loudly when she saw this. She thought that this was a series of things caused by Yi Hongchen leaving her down and asking her to come to him. The other side, Yi Hongchen only felt that he was blown up by a bomb again in the sea of knowledge, and his mind was blank. After he recovered again, he only felt refreshed, and when he opened his eyes, he could even see the tree patterns on the trees in the distance. He could even see the black spots on the wings of butterflies flying in the air. The mental power of Jean Dan's early days. It's really reached this level. It seems that this self-made immortal power is not bad. Yi Hongchen nodded in satisfaction and directly released the spiritual sense. Even the spiritual sense was 50 meters away from the original circle. It became 200 meters. In other words, as long as it is within 200 meters of Yi Hongchen, he can sense it, just like a radar detector. Suddenly, a picture outside the oasis was immediately fed back into the sea of consciousness through Yi Hongchen's spiritual sense detection. With so many scorpions, is there something strange? Or heaven and earth? Yi Hongchen retracted his spiritual sense, muttered a word, and stood up directly. With a bloody movement on his body, the whole person hurriedly rushed towards the place previously detected by the spiritual sense. He had already tasted the sweetness of Tiandi Lingbao, divine soul fruit, so naturally he didn't want to give up. Boom! A purple lightning hit Yi Bufan's white sword. and Yi Bufan flew out directly. "Junior brother Yi," Ning Shui suddenly said when she saw this. "Senior sister Ning, I'm fine." Yi Bufan's long sword stuck on the ground, stabilizing his figure. Seeing this, Ning Shui nodded slightly, then looked at the huge purple scorpion, the purple electric poisonous scorpion, and raised her long sword. "Ning Shui doesn't believe me. It will die with you." Boom! Above the sky, a blue thunder bombarded the long sword in her hand. Immediately, thunder and lightning surrounded her sword, and the next moment, Ning Shui took the initiative to run towards the purple electric poisonous scorpion. Benlei swordsmanship. "Senior sister Ning, I'll help you." Illusory swordsmanship. Upon seeing this, Yun Qingshui also stabbed the purple electric poisonous scorpion with a sword. 4 phantom swords appeared in front of her, and along with Yun Qingshui, they stabbed the purple electric poisonous scorpion. Roar! Seeing Ning Shui and Yun Qingshui rushing towards him, the purple electric poisonous scorpion roared, and a purple light appeared from the tail behind him. The next moment, a purple thunder and lightning formed in an instant, flying directly towards the two of them. Boom! Boom! Ning Shui and Yun Qingshui were directly hit by this purple lightning. Thunder beat them back and forth. Their bodies were completely paralyzed, and they couldn't stand up while lying on the ground. And the poisonous tail of the purple electric poisonous scorpion has fallen. Chapter 0146. This can be recognized. The huge tail needle of the purple electric poisonous scorpion has already fallen towards Yun Qingshui. If she is stabbed, there is no doubt that she will be poisoned by the poison of the purple electric poisonous scorpion. Are you going to die? Yun Qingshui slowly closed her eyes, although she was very unwilling to accept her fate. But at this moment, what else could he do besides accepting her fate? Junior sister Yun. Ning Shui hurriedly wanted a sword to stop him when she saw Yun Qingshui lying next to her about to be stabbed by a poisonous needle. It's a pity that she is numb all over at the moment and can't move at all. Senior sister Yun. Upon seeing this, Yi Bufan's eyes were condensed, and a burst of ancient yellow lines suddenly appeared on his body, and he just wanted to pass it. The tail of the purple electric poisonous scorpion was about to fall on Yun Qingshui's body. Boom! At a critical juncture, a burst of red light suddenly appeared in front of Yun Qingshui. The next moment, Yi Hongchen, wearing Shura's armor, appeared in front of her. The star sword touched the poisonous needle of the purple electric poisonous scorpion, and a burst of sparks appeared tightly. The 5 five-pointed stars on the star sword suddenly lit up with blue light, and then a blood-red sword light appeared on the body of the purple electric poisonous scorpion. Bang! The huge body of the purple electric poisonous scorpion suddenly flew out, smashing into the scorpion group. It's okay. Yi Hongchen turned his head slightly, and the blue light in his left eye hit Yun Qingshui's heart like a lightning strike. No, it's okay. Yun Qingshui lowered his head slightly. Even the body that was paralyzed by the purple electric poisonous scorpion seemed to have changed for the better. Although Yi Hongchen's face was covered by a red and black mask, Yun Qingshui still couldn't resist Yi Hongchen's eyes. Like a star. Xingqian. Thinking of this, Yun Qingshui's body shook again, and she seemed to have overlooked something. Yi Hongchen also has such a pair of star eyes. With such a pair of eyes, she drove in. But Yi Bufan, when Yi Hongchen appeared, the ancient lines on his body suddenly disappeared, and the strength in his body fell to the bottom again. Roar! At this moment, the purple electric poisonous scorpion stood up again, and an angry roar suddenly sounded. The next moment, the small purple electric poisonous scorpions surrounding Ning Shui, Yi Bufan, Yun Qingshui, and Yi Hongchen rushed over. The tails behind each one stood up like an angry rooster, and they killed the 4. Looking at Yi Hongchen with black hair scattered on his back, Ning Shui couldn't help but shouted, "Sura, my life depends on you." Hearing this, Yi Hongchen's original intention to pull out the sword suddenly stopped, turned his head to look at Ning Shui, and questioned, "Isn't it? You can recognize it like this?" At this moment, he is wearing the Azura armor, His face is replaced with the silver face of the star-picking building, and he is wearing an Azura mask. As a result, Ning Shui was able to recognize it at a glance. When Ning Shui heard the words, she couldn't help but snorted coldly, and a smile appeared on her pale face. That's natural. I can recognize you even if you turn to ashes. Yi Hongchen didn't ask anymore, because there were so many purple electric poisonous scorpions rushing towards them. The Xingqian sword could not help being lifted, and a burst of blue thunder and lightning fell at the sound, hitting Yi Hongchen's Xingqian sword. Ben Lei's swordsmanship. Yi Hongchen said faintly, the next moment, holding the star sword, turning around, swinging his sword. Hum! Boom! A blue light circle, centered on Yi Hongchen, immediately rushed towards the surroundings. Except for Ning Shui and Yun Qingshui, who were lying on the ground, Yi Bufan and other small purple electro-poisonous scorpions were directly hit by this blue-violet light. Thunder bombarded them one after another. Except for Yi Bufan, all the purple electric poisonous scorpions became scorched. Chapter 0147. Shura's information, the first wave was completely killed by Yi Hongchen's sword. With a number of purple electric poisonous scorpions, this is nothing at all. Continue to kill Yi Hongchen without fear of death. Zura, you beat junior brother Yi too. Ning Shui lay on the ground, seeing it clearly, and couldn't help being a little angry. Oh, that's really embarrassing. After all, I learned from someone, and I'm not proficient in using it. Yi Hongchen shrugged and swung his sword again. Boom! This time Yi Bufan had learned well, and followed Ning Shui. Yin Qingshui lying on the ground as usual, and Yi Hongchen was too embarrassed to continue beating him. Bang, bang, bang. One after another, the small poisonous scorpions all flew upside down, still exuding a scent. It seems that Yi Hongchen's thunder is familiar with electricity. But even so, above the desert, there are still countless purple electric poisonous scorpions rushing up. Even if Yi Hongchen's consumption is small, he can't help but feel a little irritable. Looking at the huge purple electric poisonous scorpion not far ahead, Yi Hongchen's eyes condensed. Catch the thief first. Thinking of this, Yi Hongchen once again struck out with a sword, and a thunder that was bigger than before slew directly towards the surroundings. This sword slayed 3 waves of small purple electric poisonous scorpions and literally doubled the encirclement of Ning Shui around Yi Hongchen. Leave these small scorpions to you, and I will deal with the big ones. Yi Hongchen said lightly after seeing Ning Shui and Yun Qingshui. The blue light disappeared. The next moment, the point of the Xingqian sword hit the ground, dragged it directly to the ground, and slowly walked towards the purple electric poisonous scorpion king. Hearing Yi Hongchen's words, Ning Shui, Yun Qingshui, and Yi Bufan stood up, looking solemnly at the small poisonous scorpions around. Senior Sister Ning, do you know Shura's cultivation base? Yun Qingshui couldn't help but ask in a low voice after approaching Ning Shui. Upon hearing this, Ning Shui suddenly thought of her assassination of Yi Hongchen. One move. With just one move, she was already defeated by Yi Hongchen. You know, she is the cultivation base of the Tiangang realm in the late congenital stage, and she is only about to be 17 years old. To reach this level of cultivation at this age can already be called in the Dongzhou where they are located genius, even Tianjiao. I don't know either. Ning Shui shook her head slightly, and after flying a purple electric poisonous scorpion with a sword, she continued. But the cultivation base of my heavenly gang realm still cannot withstand a single move in his hands. What? Yi Bufan. Yin Qingshui exclaimed ki after hearing Ning Shui's words. Then how old is he? Yin Qingshui thought about it. The more he felt that Yi Hongchen asked that person, and couldn't help but curiously asked. Ning Shui thought of the first time he saw Yi Hongchen. He lifted his face from the back of his hair, and couldn't help but replied, similar to you, he looks very handsome and extraordinary, if he has a dusty temperament on his body. The other side. Every time Yi Hongchen took a step, the purple electric poisonous scorpion king in front of him also took a step back, as if Yi Hongchen was a terrifying monster. Only the small poisonous scorpion beside, the purple electric poisonous scorpion king, still killed Yi Hongchen. It's a pity that a blood-colored light shield enveloped Yi Hongchen's whole body, and the sky was covered. Only the Heavenly Gang mantle can completely block these small poisonous scorpions and the monster beasts whose cultivation level does not reach the Heavenly Gang realm. So Yi Hongchen ignored these trivial scorpions. What are you running? Could you take out the aura that should be at the peak of the sky cover? Yi Hongchen couldn't help frowning slightly as he looked at the purple electric poisonous scorpion king who was gradually receding. The purple electric poisonous scorpion king is not low in spirit. After hearing Yi Hongchen's words, he suddenly stopped, and his tail stood up again. Chapter 0148. Nothing challenging hum. On the erected tail needle of the purple electric poisonous scorpion king, a purple light suddenly lit up. A thunderous force condenses on its tail, and the surrounding colors have turned purple because of this burst of light. Roar! The purple electric poisonous scorpion king seemed to be satisfied with the thunder and lightning in the distance on his tail, and roared. Call! The next moment, a purple light shot from his tail, and the target was the slowly approaching Yi Hongchen. Boom! Yi Hongchen didn't evade, but he literally withstood this attack from the purple lightning scorpion king. Sura! Ning Shui couldn't help, but shouted as he could see Yi Hongchen's state at a glance. Even Yi Bufan and Yun King Shui couldn't help but look at Yi Hongchen, both with worried expressions. After all, the Yi Hongchen at this moment is no different from their life-saving straw. If Yi Hongchen dies, then they will not have the slightest chance to break out from here. Don't worry, I am not famous yet. How could I lose my life in a ruin in this mere ruin? An indifferent voice came from the center of the purple light, and in the next second, a blood-colored sword light lit up from the purple light. Bang! The purple lightning sent by the purple electric poisonous scorpion was completely shattered with the sword of Yi Hongchen. Yi Hongchen in a red and black armor appeared in front of Ning Shui, Yi Bufan, and Yun King Shui. The black cloak was still floating, and Yi Hongchen couldn't see any change at all. It seems that the blow of the purple lightning scorpion king, just now, was nothing more than a joke. Upon seeing this, the purple lightning scorpion king suddenly turned around, did not attack again, and immediately started to run away. Run? If you can run away at this distance, Shura will change it to a small poisonous scorpion. Upon seeing this, Yi Hongchen murmured a faint smile on his face. In the next second, a red halo lit up on his body, and Yi Hongchen's toes moved, and his body suddenly disappeared. Call! When he reappeared, he had already come to the front of the purple electric poisonous scorpion king and pierced its left eye with a sword. Puff! A stream of purple blood suddenly splashed out from the left eye of the purple electric poisonous scorpion king. When the blood was about to be stained with Yi Hongchen's battle armor, Yi Hongchen's whole body dissipated again. It turned out to be an afterimage. Puff! A blood-colored sword light appeared on the huge tail behind the purple electric poisonous scorpion king. The tail was directly cut off by this sword light, and the scream of the purple electric poisonous scorpion king followed. And Yi Hongchen had already come to the sky above the purple electric poisonous scorpion king, and the star sword was raised by him again. Boom! A blue thunder and lightning fell from the sky again and landed on the star sword that was no longer surrounded by thunder and lightning. The blue thunder and lightning floated on the body of Xingqian Jianjian again, and the electric current bounced back and forth on it. The purple electric poisonous scorpion king? This ruin really has everything, but unfortunately, there is no challenging one yet. Yi Hongchen was suspended in the air, and blue light radiated from the star sword. Ning Shui, Yi Bufan, and Yun King Shui, who had just repelled the scorpion group, couldn't help but raise their heads after hearing Yi Hongchen's words. What catches the eye is the Yi Hongchen like a star. It seems that in the entire desert at this moment, he is the master. Sura, handsome. After Ning Shui took a look, she couldn't look away. Upon hearing this, Yun King Shui nodded in agreement, but didn't say anything. This Shura is stronger than him. Yi Bufan muttered while looking at Yi Hongchen in the sky. He refers to Yi Hongchen. when the three of them had their own thoughts. Yi Hongchen had already swung down his sword. Boom. Chapter 0149. One trick to solve the Scorpion King boom. A blue thunder and lightning fell suddenly, violently killing the purple lightning Scorpion King. A powerful oppressive force directly pressed the purple lightning Scorpion King completely in place, and it was extremely difficult for it to escape the range of Yi Hongchen's blow. Boom! A burst of extremely huge blue light suddenly broke out on the purple electric poisonous scorpion. Even the small poisonous scorpions around the purple electric poisonous Scorpion King were affected in the aftermath of this thunder, turned into a pile of fly ash, and dissipated over the entire desert. This blue thunder lasted for 15 seconds. After the thunder light dissipated, the body of the purple electric poisonous Scorpion King was exposed. The original purple body had become extremely scorched at this moment, and a smell of scorched black suddenly spread. Even Yi Hongchen in the sky could smell it. At this moment, the only left eye of the purple electric poisonous Scorpion King had turned white, and his body could not move a foot. Dead and thorough. Yi Hongchen looked around, and the small poisonous scorpions below were still attacking Ning Shui, Yun King Shui, and Yi Bufan. With a move, Yi Hongchen came directly to the impervious purple electric poisonous king and immediately grabbed its somewhat sturdy legs and moved again. Awesomely returned to the sky. Boom! The next moment, Yi Hongchen swung a sword in his hand again, and a cyclone was instantly above the sky. All the small poisonous scorpions on the ground, as well as Ning Shui, Yi Bufan, and Yun King Shui were all swept back by this air current. All of them raised their heads subconsciously, entering the goal. That is, Yi Hongchen was completely stunned by the situation of Yi Hongchen holding the corpse of the purple lightning Scorpion King in one hand. Even Ning Shui, Yi Bufan, and Yun King Shui were shocked by Yi Hongchen's feat. That's a monster in the heavenly gang realm. Unable to withstand Yi Hongchen's thunder, he was completely dead. How did Yi Hongchen do it? Your king is dead. Why don't you retreat? Yi Hongchen's eyes condensed, and the hand holding the purple electric poisonous scorpion suddenly swung down. Boom! The huge body of the purple electric poisonous Scorpion King smashed heavily on the ground, and he just smashed a big pit. In the desert, the dust was rolling, and it scared away the small purple electric poisonous scorpions around. The small poisonous scorpions surrounding Ning Shui, Yi Bufan, and Yun King Shui saw that their king was killed by Yi Hongchen. All of them drilled a small hole in the desert and climbed directly into it. The speed was so fast that in less than 5 seconds, the scene immediately returned to its original state. Even the holes drilled by them were filled with sand rolled up by dust, and there was no way to see what holes were drilled. Well, this Shura is going against the sky. Ning Shui looked at Yi Hongchen in the sky. Her mouth widened again. Call! The next moment, Yi Hongchen, wearing a red and black Shura armor, suddenly appeared in front of Ning Shui. TSK Tusk, this look is really rare. Yi Hongchen looked at her unscrupulously in front of Ning Shui. Suddenly seeing Yi Hongchen, Ning Shui immediately turned back, looking like she was absent-minded, staring at Yi Hongchen with a pair of beautiful eyes, and turned her head away. You want to control. Anyway, no matter how strong you are, there's no such thing as my master. When Yi Hongchen heard the words, he immediately put away the smile on his face, pointed to the back, and said lightly, "When I rushed here earlier, something seemed to have appeared there. Call." After speaking, Yi Hongchen disappeared again, leaving only a blast of cold wind in place, which rolled up the dust and directly turned the eyes of Ning Shui, Yun King Shui, and Yi Bufan into yellow. I'm waiting for you there. Chapter 0150, Killing the Red-Eyed Genius. I'm waiting for you there. Ning Shui, Yun King Shui, and Yi Bufan, whose eyes were full of yellow dust, heard the last words of Yi Hongchen. After the dust cleared, Ning Shui looked at the deserted desert in front of him and couldn't help being a little angry. This damn Shura. Leave me again. Go out and let Master punish him. At this time, Hongchen had already come to the oasis where he was previously, but he did not stop here. As he said, when he rushed over earlier, the spiritual sense had already detected hundreds of spiritual power fluctuations in front of him, and it seemed to be fighting in groups. 3 minutes later, Hongchen came to a small castle made of sand, relying on the speed of the Golden Course stage. What? Just after landing, a man in a yellow gown suddenly screamed and flew out of the castle. He's not dead. The place where he fell is exactly where Hongchen was standing. Hongchen frowned and moved his feet. A red light directly lit up on his body. Bang! The man directly hit Hongchen's original location, vomiting blood, and didn't know whether he passed out or died straight away. Hongchen only took a look before walking towards the gate of the castle. It's a pity that the door has been closed tightly. It seems that someone with a heart closed the door in order to prevent too many people from entering. Among the sandcastles, young people and teenagers in their own different costumes are fighting in it, and they will kill them when they see them. Of course, they are still very savvy, and they're the first to attack the person wearing the clothes of the inner disciple of Juechen Palace. Because of the overall strength, the people in Juechen Palace are strong. Although the people in Juechen Palace are strong, they can't resist the offensive of so many people. Damn it! You have to remember that I am the ink dye of one of the two great geniuses of Juechen Palace, and I have always held grudges. Mo Ran, who was dressed in white and the costume of the core disciple, looked at the person who was killing him like a mad dog and couldn't help but roar. It doesn't matter whether you're stained with ink or ink here. The enemies who block my chance are all enemies. Also in the Palace of Great Dust. As long as you are killed here, who will know? Don't talk so much nonsense with him. He is the peak of the Heavenly Gang realm in the late innate stage. And she is going to change. It's a pity that Mo Rant's words didn't have any effect at all, but instead caused even more fierce attack from the youths of the Heavenly Gang realm who besieged him. Puff! Mo Ran didn't pay attention, and a sword wound suddenly appeared on his arm, and he couldn't help but roared, Okay, let you ants take a look today, I'm so died. After a sword smashed 3 people in the Heavenly Gang realm, Mo Ran slammed on his feet, and the whole person jumped directly into the sky. In the next moment, the long sword pointed to the sky, and more than 100 flying swords appeared above the sky. Kill me! Mo Ran yelled fiercely while looking at the young man in the Heavenly Gang realm who was waiting for him to come down. Hoo-hoo-hoo! More than 100 flying swords floating in the sky, all directly rushed towards the people under the ink stain. Hundreds of flying swords. Can I still be afraid of you? Seeing this, a young man dressed in blue was holding a long sword and swung it quickly. The next moment, a blue tiger head, centered on him immediately, turned out. Yes, do you have the ability to look after the house? Look at me. A tall young man suddenly laughed when he saw this. The big axe in his hand suddenly slammed into the sky. An incomparably huge axe phantom also appeared on his head. In addition, all of those people have used their housekeeping skills, and the unique skills of the geniuses of Juechen Palace cannot tolerate them, to underestimate them. When their attacks were about to collide. Chapter 0151. Can you kill me when their attacks were about to collide? The gate of Sand City Castle suddenly broke open. A strong air current, accompanied by sand, rushed in from the gate. The vigorous young teenagers from all sides who had been killing all gave up their opponents and resisted this air current. Even the ink dye, which was still suspended in the air, couldn't help but give up injecting spiritual power into the flying sword, and resisted this air current wholeheartedly. After all, if he was accidentally swept away by this air current, he couldn't stabilize his figure, and he couldn't stop being overshadowed by some small person. As for the people who wanted to resist the flying sword, after seeing that the flying sword was carried away by the air current, they also started to resist this air current with all their strength. Finally, the airflow dissipated and the sand gradually disappeared, and everyone couldn't help looking at the door of the sand castle. It seems that they have briefly forgotten what they were fighting for before. A man wearing a red and black mask and a close-fitting armor of red and black walked in slowly from a gate. The blue long sword leaned on the ground, dragged by him, and the black cloak behind him fluttered in the wind. Amazingly, Yi Hongchen, he saw the gate of the confinement and broke open with a sword, and the powerful sword aura directly penetrated in. That's why this kind of thing happened in the field. Kill. After a brief period of attention, everyone resumed their previous battle and fought together again. After all, none of them knew Yi Hongchen, so naturally they didn't think much about it, thinking that Yi Hongchen was just that way. Boy, dare to use such an arrogant way of appearance. I'm afraid I want to kill myself. When Yi Hongchen was still observing how many people there were in the field, a young man holding a big knife suddenly came over, his mask cruel. Oh, could it be that you could kill me? Yi Hongchen twisted his neck slightly, and a sound of bones made his eyes full of contempt. Okay, then I'll let you know whether I can kill you. The young man's expression suddenly changed when he heard the words, and he shouted with murderous intent. When the words are over, hold the big knife tightly and cut it towards Yi Hongchen's face. To deal with you, the star sword is not worthy of use. After seeing this trick only in the mid-innate Earth Gang, Yi Hongchen said with disdain. In the next second, the left hand was raised, and the index finger and middle finger firmly clamped the blade of the big knife. After the young man's broadsword was clamped by Yi Hongchen's 2 fingers, he was unable to advance or retreat, as if stuck by something. What? How was this possible? When the young man saw this, his complexion suddenly became extremely pale. If he knew that Yi Hongchen was so powerful, he could take his broadsword with just 2 fingers, and he would not want to come and face Yi Hongchen to death. How can it be impossible? Yi Hongchen said jokingly when he heard the words. The next moment, the 2 fingers clamped on the big knife suddenly squeezed. The seemingly hard sword suddenly disconnected with Yi Hongchen's force. Yi Hongchen held the other half of the sword and threw it directly in the direction of the youth. Puff! The tip of the big sword suddenly pierced into the young man's body. The young man opened his eyes and fell heavily on the ground. Yi Hongchen didn't have the slightest ripple in his heart, dragging the star sword, slowly walking towards the crowd in front of him. Boy, you... Puff! Stop! Can't you hear if you're told to stop? Puff! Every time Yi Hongchen took a step, someone walked over to stop him, but unfortunately, he couldn't finish his words, so he was directly beheaded by Yi Hongchen with a sword. Actually smashed a bloody road. Yi Hongchen, who was originally indifferent, was noticed by everyone at this moment, all with murderous intent. He has become a man of the world. Chapter 0152. Death. At this moment, Yi Hongchen directly attracted everyone's attention, especially after he killed 2 people at will. Everyone in the field involuntarily stopped the attack, and all of them looked at Yi Hongchen with hatred. Zhu Chan Palace and the others also got a chance to breathe because of Yi Hongchen, and they all took Wei Ling pill to quickly regain their strength. Yi Hongchen looked at the people in front of him who were all looking at him and couldn't help but touch the star sword to the ground again. When so many people look at me, I will get angry. Yi Hongchen was not afraid at all, looked at the group of people like beasts, and said lightly, "Are you threatening our big guys? It seems that you have never seen the great guys. Let's go together." His combat power seems to be stronger than that of the people in the Great Dust Palace. Kill. The crowd in front of Yi Hongchen heard the words, as if offending the anger. A group of people came to Yi Hongchen to kill together. Come on, let you see the method of my Shura. Yi Hongchen raised the star sword, and the star sword suddenly shone brightly, and the 5 five-pointed stars on the sword shone. When the words were over, Yi Hongchen quickly swung a sword, and a bloody sword aura appeared in front of Yi Hongchen. It grew longer, and within 3 seconds of flying, it was already longer than the crowd rushing towards Yi Hongchen. Boom! This bloody sword aura directly repelled everyone who stood in front of Yi Hongchen. As long as there is no breakthrough in the Golden Core period, there will be no exceptions. What? Who is this person who is so strong? Mo Ran was not spared either. His eyes were full of horror at Yi Hongchen. Yi Hongchen walked a few steps forward again, slowly raised the star sword, and said lightly, "The person blocking the road die." Boom! In the next moment, a blue thunder fell from the sky and hit the star sword in Yi Hongchen's hand. The star sword was full of thunder and lightning. and the flickering light made the hearts of the people in front of Yi Hongchen tremble. Yi Hongchen didn't bother to pay attention to the thoughts in these people's hearts, and the star sword dragged to the ground again, slowly walking forward. The crowd silently gave up a path, not daring to stop Yi Hongchen at all, for fear that he would kill him with a single sword. Why not? You cowards, I'll come. When Yi Hongchen walked for nearly 20 steps and came to the center of the crowd, a voice suddenly came into his ears. Turning his head slightly, what caught the eye was a tall young man holding an axe. At this moment, he had raised the axe and slashed towards Yi Hongchen. And this tall young man is one of the geniuses qualified to fight Mo Ran. Yi Hongchen felt that all the locations around him were blocked in an instant, as if he would die as soon as he moved. Go to hell. The tall young man's voice fell, and a huge axe suddenly appeared above Yi Hongchen's head, a blue illusion. Call. In the next second, the axe fell directly towards Yi Hongchen, and before it hit Yi Hongchen, the ground under Yi Hongchen's feet actually appeared cracks. Yi Hongchen didn't say a word, holding the star sword and slowly raising it. It seemed that this kind of illusion was a blinding technique at all. Don't he think this is a blind eye? He will be injured if he is not dead, right? Have a chance to kill him directly later. It made me so embarrassed. Too conceited, it's hard to make a big deal. Seeing Yi Hongchen's axe phantom to meet the tall young man so perfunctorily, the people around him secretly and quickly picked up spiritual power. As long as Yi Hongchen is repelled, they will attack together. Yi Hongchen heard them, and the corners of his mouth suddenly rose. Chapter 0153. Two swords destroy 10 people. Listening to the words of those around him, Yi Hongchen's mouth couldn't help but raise. The huge axe phantom directly comes into contact with the surrounding star's sword. At the next moment, a surprise happened to everyone in the field. The huge axe phantom was stabbed in half under the star sword in Yi Hongchen's hand, and gradually dissipated. What? I was stabbed in half by a sword. Such an understatement. That's right. What is Mingyu doing? Why don't you use all your strength to release the water? No, it's not that Mingyu released the water, but that person is too strong. A young man in white, holding a folding fan in his hand, said softly while looking at Yi Hongchen. You miscalculated. I didn't expect to use that blow to solve you early in the morning. Now, you can't run away. The tall young man, Mingyu, had already come behind Yi Hongchen when Yi Hongchen pierced the phantom of the giant axe in half with his sword. Oh, really? Yi Hongchen couldn't help but asked indifferently when he felt the power coming from behind him. In the next moment, the star sword that had been lifted up into the sky was directly back behind him. Boom! A blue thunderbolt rushed towards behind as if it had been triggered. That direction was officially the direction Mingyu had cut with an axe towards Yi Hongchen. Mingyu's pupils were all filled with a blue thunder and lightning in front of him, and he was puzzled. How'd he do it? Bang! In the next second, Mingyu was hit by the thunder of Yi Hongchen, without exception, and flew out and fell to the ground fiercely. His hair turned into a bird's nest, and even his face was incredibly scorched, as if he had entered some coal hole. Brother Ming. Brother Ming. The surrounding people in the same costume as Mingyu quickly surrounded Mingyu, for fear of being conspired by others, which would lead to Mingyu's death. Make way, otherwise he will be your end, Yi Hongchen said coldly, looking at the person blocking the way in front. Do you think this opportunity belongs to you? Don't be too arrogant. Go together. It is good. Yi Hongchen shook his head slightly after seeing that someone in front of him was still disobedient, and his azure blue eyes glanced at the ink stain on the other side of the crowd intentionally or unintentionally. At this moment, the ink dye was observing him as well. No, sometimes his eyes cast a necessary red light group in the distance. When, at this time, the long swords of the three people stabbed together, but unfortunately, a bloody sky cover on Yi Hongchen's body directly blocked their long swords. In the next second, Yi Hongchen raised his sword and fell, blocking the throats of the three people in front, and a sword mark appeared directly, falling on the sand. Since you don't know how to promote, don't blame me, incarnate as Shura. Just after solving the 3 Key Gang realm, another 7 Earth Gang realm killed in front. Yi Hongchen couldn't help but his tone turned cold, and the next moment, a blood-red light lit up on his body. Call. When the attack of the 7 Earth Gang realm was about to reach Yi Hongchun suddenly disappeared and fell directly into the air. What's the matter? Where did you go? Are you looking for me again? Yi Hongchun appeared in front of them like a ghost and said coldly, "Hum." In the next moment, a blood-colored sword light directly lit up on them, and the bodies of the 7 young people in the Earth Gang realm were all turned into 2 halves. Kill. Yi Hongchun's 2 swords killed 10 people, and suddenly the onlookers who had hesitated no longer hesitate to kill them together towards Yi Hongchun. Because Yi Hongchun is so powerful and they don't work together, they will no longer have a chance if they want a chance. Chapter 0154. The difficult white boy seeing so many people rushing over. Even if Yi Hongchun can completely suppress his cultivation, he is not a god after all, and the spiritual power in his body will always be exhausted. I have to expand the space a bit, Yi Hongchun said in his heart, and directly drew 30% of the spiritual power from the blood pill in his body and gathered it in his right hand. The radiance of the star sword is getting stronger and stronger, and when they are close to the 5-meter range of Yi Hongchun swept it out with a single sword. Wind wave swordsmanship, first style, open flow style. Call. At the next moment, a bloody sword aura suddenly appeared larger than the sword aura that Yi Hongchun used for the first time. Puff, the 50-odd people who rushed to the front of Yi Hongchun were forced back again under the sword of Yi Hongchun. With the exception of being able to block the open Heavenly Gang realm, people below the Heavenly Gang realm were hit hard on their internal organs under this sword aura, vomiting blood, fell to the ground and died. Even in the Heavenly Gang realm, it is completely uncomfortable and basically has lost its combat effectiveness. Call. At this time, a gust of wind whistling came from behind Yi Hongchun, causing Yi Hongchun to turn his head slightly. The first thing that caught the eye was a big white sword, emitting a burst of white light, piercing him. The second is that a group of people followed behind the big white sword and killed him fiercely. Even if he was as flexible and powerful as a yin, Yi Hongchun couldn't escape the offensive of this white sword at this moment. "Come!" Yi Hongchun yelled in a low voice, facing the white giant sword with his sword. When the sword points of the star sword and the white giant sword collided with each other, and a burst of terrifying force passed along the star sword into Yi Hongchun's body. In the next moment, Yi Hongchun flew backwards like he was hit by a train. Yi Hongchun plunged his sword into the ground, and this stabilized his figure as he continued to fly backwards. "Ha ha! He is injured, quickly kill him." Upon seeing this, a young man quickly swooped in front of Yi Hongchun. A short dagger suddenly appeared in his hand, stabbing at Yi Hongchun's fierce mouth. A grin appeared on his face. It seems that he has already seen the end of Yi Hongchun's heart pierced by his dagger. At this moment, a sword light appeared on the young man's body for the first time. The next moment, his hand holding the short dagger was separated from his body. What? Feeling the pain from his hand, the youth just screamed, and Yi Hongchun had already pierced his body with his sword. His eyes were wide, and he didn't understand how he suddenly died in Yi Hongchun's hands. After Yi Hongchun killed one person, he was too late to pull out the star sword on his body, kicked his feet, and turned the whole person upward. In the next moment, a white giant sword directly penetrated the body of the young man killed by Yi Hongchun. A young man in white clothes with a scabbard hanging from his waist passed under Yi Hongchun's eyes. If Yi Hongchun's reaction was just a bit slow, even if he could escape with this sword, he would not be able to avoid the ending of injury. Yi Hongchun had no time to fight back against this young man, and the offensive of a group of people behind him suddenly came. Dragon Shadow. Yi Hongchun's expression remained unchanged, and as soon as his feet fell on the ground, it was too late for even the star sword to be inserted into someone else's body. He rushed directly into the crowd and shuttled through the crowd with the lightness of his body as a swallow. Every time there is more than one person, it is a kick. With the cultivation base of the middle stage of the Yi Hongchun Golden Course stage, the person who has a dragon shadow against him can't stand up at all. Hold head high. Yi Hongchun kicked out again, directly kicking a young man in the ground, knocking down more than a dozen people. The scene is in chaos again. Chapter 0155. Mo Rant's jealous heart. The scene fell into a melee for a while. In the next moment, Yi Hongchen suddenly heard the sound of a sword sound from behind him again. "It's you again." Yi Hongchen turned his head slightly and murmured after seeing a white-clothed young man stabbing a white giant sword to kill him. With his toes on the ground again, Yi Hongchen rose directly into the sky, making a 380-degree maneuver. After avoiding the white giant sword again, Yi Hongchen directly kicked the white-clothed boy's back fiercely. But he didn't want to. The young man in white reacted very quickly, holding a long sword, turned around and stabbed Yi Hongchen with a kick. Boom! Foot swords facing each other. Yi Hongchen's feet were not pierced by the long sword, but on the long sword, a powerful impact flew out from Yi Hongchen, the white-clothed boy. Those who wanted to kill Yi Hongchen were forced to retreat under this impact. For a while, no one could interfere with the matchup between Yi Hongchen and the boy in white. "Give up. You don't have a sword. You can't beat me," the white-clothed boy named Yi Xie said, slowly watching Yi Hongchen. Yi Hongchen heard the words. Eyes under the mask suddenly shrank, and the aura on his body showed directly and unreservedly. In the middle of the golden core, the cultivation base of the pill-holding realm. Previously, he had been using the late congenital stage. Otherwise, it would be impossible not to be unnoticed at first. What? This person, he turned out to be a strong man in the golden core stage. Moreover, it's not the ordinary golden core stage. It seems that he has surpassed the core formation stage and his cultivation base in the holding core stage. Do you remember the rules for entering here? You are under 20 years old. Hey, in other words, he is even more talented than the earthly son Yi Hongchen. After feeling Yi Hongchen's cultivation base, everyone seemed to be bombarded by bombs, and their minds were blank. Golden core period. Jin Dan stage, less than 20 years old. Mo Ran was standing in another place in the crowd. At this moment, after feeling Yi Hongchen's cultivation base, his entire popularity trembled a little. Originally, Yi Hongchen had already caused him a headache, and finally he did it by himself and died of what he did. As a result, Yi Lingyun appeared again and forced him down. Now what? Among the ruins, there are people who are more genius than him, and they are not from Juechen Palace. Damn it, what about the Golden Core stage? Today I will kill a Golden Core stage, and I will kill the hatred in my heart. Thinking of this, Mo Ran originally didn't want to be nosy, but the idea of taking the opportunity to steal the opportunity suddenly disappeared. There's only one thought in his mind, and that is to kill this unknown Jin Dan stage genius. Ho ho ho. At the next moment, nearly 200 flying swords suddenly appeared on Mo Rant's head. With a thought, the flying sword flew directly towards Yi Hongchen, and the white-clothed boy Yi Xie flew away. Now, do you think you can still fight for your spiritual power to beat me? Yi Hongchen couldn't help but said lightly when he saw the astonishment on Yi Xie's face. At the next moment, a blood beam appeared on Yi Hongchen's feet, and with a sudden force, Yi Xie's long sword was directly kicked into the air. Good chance. Upon seeing this, Yi Hongchen's blue eyes suddenly flashed a gleam of light, approaching Yi Xie directly. In the next moment, he kicked Yi Xie's fierce mouth fiercely. Bang! Without exception, Yi Xie was kicked into the air by Yi Hongchen, hitting a few hapless people, and fell to the ground. Puff! A mouthful of red blood spurted from his mouth. His eyes closed, and he passed out into a coma. Ho ho ho! Yi Hongchen had just finished all this before he had time to get the star sword. A burst of air burst into his ears. Lifting his eyes slightly, nearly 200 flying swords were quickly piercing him in the sky. Chapter 0156. I'm sorry, Yi Hongchen raised his eyes, and what caught his eye was nearly 200 flying swords, which were flying towards him quickly. Xin Yuekui? After Yi Hongchen said in his heart, Mo Ran, a core disciple of Juechen Palace, suddenly appeared in his eyes. I didn't bother you. How dare you find yourself unhappy? Yi Hongchen narrowed his eyes and moved his feet, suddenly appeared in front of the first youth who was killed by him, quickly pulled out the star sword from him, and the use of Xin Yuekui came to mind directly. As the son of the lord of the Palace of Great Chins, he naturally read it, but unfortunately, he didn't learn it because of his pride. Nowadays, there is no suitable hilt, and sword drawing cannot be used. It can only be sold now. Otherwise, if he avoids Mo Rant's offensive, he will fall into a passive situation next. Seeing that Yi Hongchen closed his eyes and allowed Feijian to approach, everyone, including Mo Ran, felt that Yi Hongchen had accepted his fate. Haha, the second day of Juechen Palace is really not what we can compare, and immediately trapped this person, and he still didn't dare to move. It seems that he is dead this time. After all, their eyes still stayed on Yi Hongchen's body, and they began to secretly vigilant in their hearts as they wanted to see how he died. If Yi Hongchen died, it was uncertain whether his previous teammates would suddenly face each other. When Feijian flew over Yi Hongchen's head, Yi Hongchen slowly opened his eyes, and the hand holding the Xing Chenjian suddenly loosened. Without Yi Hongchen's support, the Star Sword didn't fall directly to the ground, but instead floated in front of Yi Hongchen. Mo Ran narrowed his eyes after seeing Star Sword in the distance floating in front of Yi Hongchen. Even the others, but those who are in the Palace of Extreme Dust, have doubts in their eyes at the moment, because Yi Hongchen's move was very similar to a sword fight in their Juechen Palace. Xin Yuekui. While they were still wondering, Yi Hongchen's voice came out. Xin Yuekui. Yi Hongchen said faintly, waving his hand quickly, making a very strange gesture. The next moment, the Star Sword suspended in front of Yi Hongchen suddenly trembled, and blood-red rays of light appeared beside Yi Hongchen. But within 5 seconds, the blood-red light around Yi Hongchen had appeared nearly 100, dazzling. In the end, the blood-colored light changed into a long sword and flew towards the flying sword on Yi Hongchen's head. Bang! 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 Above the sky, the flying swords that illusioned out hit each other, and then quickly dissipated. Yi Hongchen stood at the bottom, looked at the situation above, couldn't help turning his head, and looked at Mo Ran. The second genius of Juechen Palace is really a waste. I'm going to kill you. Mo Ran heard Yi Hongchen's mocking words, and the blue veins on his forehead violently. The next moment, holding a long sword, a burst of white light appeared on Moran's body, and another Moran appeared next to him. It's just that there's flames on that ink stain, and it was still a phantom. Call. Looking at Mo Dai, who was killing himself, Yi Hongchen's eyes were full of contempt. Mo Dai's trick could be easily cracked when he was still in the late congenital celestial realm. It's even more golden at this moment. How could he be afraid? Extend your finger and place your index finger lightly on the hilt of the Xingchen sword. The next moment, a burst of red light appeared in front of Yi Hongchen. A scarlet sword that was bigger than others appeared directly. Kill Xiang. Mo ran without a word. Mo Ran looked terrified when he saw the scarlet great sword, and he blurted out, Xin Yuekui, the second round, Xiujian. Chapter 0157. Bai Ling's cold fire appears. Mo Ran looked terrified when he saw the scarlet great sword, and he blurted out, Xin Yuekui, the second round, Xiujian. Although I was horrified in my heart, it was undoubtedly impossible for Mo Ran to give up this blow, so I could only rush forward with the scalp. Moran's body pierced the tip of the scarlet sword, directly facing the sword. The other Mo Ran was full of flames, bypassing the scarlet sword, and slew towards Yi Hongchen. Do you know what a virtual sword is? Although Yi Hongchen also saw the flames of ink staining and killing, he didn't care, and instead said in a whisper. When the words fell, the original scarlet great sword and Mo Ran's long sword collided, suddenly turned into a burst of blood, and disappeared in front of Mo Ran's eyes. Call. In the next moment, at least 30 small blood swords appeared behind Mo Ran, and they were slain towards him. This blow was unexpected, and Yi Hongchen didn't believe that he could escape with the ink-stained body. Then you know, my fire body has another ability? Mo Ran looked at Yi Hongchen. A smile suddenly appeared on his face. In the next moment, the ink-stained body was completely penetrated by the tiny blood sword, and red blood flowed out along with it. Dead? No, not dead. Upon seeing this, Yi Hongchen murmured a certain amount of doubt on his face as he thought of the words Moran had just said. Go to hell. Sure enough, when Yi Hongchen thought of this idea, a fireman appeared in front of him. It was the ink stain that he didn't care about before, the ink stain that braved the flames. At this moment, he directly hit Yi Hongchen with a punch. Dragon Fist. Seeing Mo Ran so close, Yi Hongchen hit Mo Ran's fist with a punch. Bang! A powerful heat wave once again swept the people watching the game next to them and forced them back again. Yi Hongchen's fist was on top of Mo Ran's fist, but Mo Ran's face did not change at all. On the other hand, Yi Hongchen only felt a terrifying high temperature in his body. I didn't expect it. My fire body, with incoherent high temperature, can make the other person feel like being burned by flames. After seeing the faint flickering in Yi Hongchen's eyes, Mo Ran couldn't help but say something triumphantly. It is the pleasure of Mo Ran's heart to be able to make Yi Hongchen, such a genius who is not inferior to him, feel frustrated. Your fire is indeed powerful, and can even make me feel that being in a sea of flames is extremely uncomfortable. Yi Hongchen didn't refute when he heard the words. Instead, he followed the ink-dyed words. When Mo Ran saw this, he thought Yi Hongchen was about to compromise and couldn't help feeling even more proud. What about your genius? In front of my ink dye, don't you have to bow your head and claim your court? However, your fire is in my eyes, and it can be counted as a fire ready to be on the table. When Mo Ran thought that Yi Hongchen asked him to remove the flame, Yi Hongchen said his indifferent words again. In the next moment, a burst of white arrogance suddenly appeared on Yi Hongchen's body. A blast of cold and hot temperature was directly transmitted in Moyan's body through Yi Hongchen's fist. For an instant, Mo Ran only felt that he was in a sea of ice, and like he was in a pan. Life and death cannot be ruled by him at all. What? The next moment, a scream came from Mo Ran's mouth, and the expression of the whole person was extremely hideous, and the previous pride was completely gone. Let you taste the power of Bai Ling's cold fire. Yi Hongchen saw it. The corner of his mouth raised, and the hand against Mo Ran's fist suddenly slammed hard. Boom! The next moment, Mo Ran's whole body flew out directly, and his body was still like Yi Hongchen, braving a white arrogance. Just as Yi Hongchen wanted to stop the ink staining, a voice suddenly came. Someone steals the chance. Chapter 0158. The fate of my Yi Hongchen. Someone steals the chance. There is such a shameless person. No, you can't let him succeed. Wait, not one person, but 3 people. Kill. Seize my chance. This is the enemy of genocide. 3 little thieves. Stop. When Yi Hongchen wanted to go over and punch Mo Ran in the face, he suddenly heard a noisy sound. In the next moment, the group of people who originally surrounded Yi Hongchen, who could continue to do their hands at any time, rushed directly in the direction behind, ignoring Yi Hongchen. Following this Buffon, he also learned the bad problem of stealing things. As the flow of people went away, Yi Hongchen saw at a glance the 3 people rushing in front, about to touch a golden light. All 3 of them wore a purple gown with 2 red fringes on their shoulders. This is exactly the costume of the disciple of the inner door of Jiuechen Palace, and there are exactly 3 people, and Yi Hongchen knows it again. There was no secret of the identities of the 3 people. It was Ning Shui Yi Buffon and Yun King Shui. Unfortunately, what you're trying to steal is a chance, my chance at Yi Hongchen. Yi Hongchen shook his head slightly. Looking at the golden light, his body burst into red light. The next moment, Yi Hongchen's whole person suddenly turned into a gust of wind and quickly swept towards the golden light. The golden light generally contains heaven and earth spirit treasures, as well as some precious exercises and martial skills. Look at the clothes on them. They are still inner disciples of Jiuechen Palace. Abba! I didn't expect that Jiuechen Palace would have such a shameless side, stealing the chance. I care who they are, and if I take my chance, I will kill him. After the voices of a few unusually arrogant teenagers fell, a red light directly passed through them. The terrifying impact directly caused them to spin around, and some even fainted. The red light suddenly surpassed the crowd and came to the front, revealing the person inside. It was Yi Hongchen. Open flow. The star sword in Yi Hongchen's hand quickly swung towards the person who rushed over behind him. In the next moment, a red sword aura formed directly, rushing towards the bunch of people. Boom! The people in the first row were directly hit by the red sword aura, and even the people who rushed over with their stamina from behind were knocked down or tripped by them. After doing all this, Yi Hongchen moved his feet and once again made his birth light as a swallow, and moved towards Ning Shui, Yi Bufan, and Yun Qingshui to ignore them. Too much. I knew this man was a scourge. Look, he is about to catch up with the three. When the people flying over behind him saw this, their complexions became extremely ugly, and after they scolded Yi Hongchen secretly in their hearts, they continued to rush towards the golden light. Ning Shui, Yi Bufan, and Yun Qingshui were shocked when they saw Yi Hongchen chasing after him. Senior Sister Ning, Shura's strength is too strong, right? I have just experienced a battle, and there is still so much spiritual power at this moment. Yi Bufan was really convinced by Yi Hongchen at this moment. They had come long ago and witnessed the comparison between Yi Hongchen and a group of geniuses. Just because he had witnessed it, he was extremely convinced at this moment. If he was replaced by him, he would definitely not be able to do it. His strength cannot be compared with ordinary people. He is a monster. Ning Shui could only say helplessly. After all, she doesn't understand Yi Hongchen either. How could she know? If they were to know that at this moment, the blood core in Yi Hongchen's body still had 60%, close to 70% of the spiritual power, I don't know how they felt. You guys stop. Otherwise, don't blame me for being merciless. Yi Hongchen Xingchen, sword lightly said with a blue light. Chapter 0159. You are not worthy. When the words fell, Yi Hongchen turned around again, swaying the star sword at will, and a bloody sword aura flew out again. Previously, because he had not expected Yi Hongchen to attack their people, seeing Gengji again at this moment was already on guard. Boom! The sword energy was directly broken by them one after another, and they continued to rush towards Yi Hongchen and the others. Yi Hongchen didn't have much surprise about this. After all, the sword energy he used was just to let the three of Ning Shui know the consequences. Shura, isn't it okay for us to evenly divide? Why do we have to swallow it alone? Ning Shui didn't dare to look back, for fear that Yi Hongchen would take such a sword, and said in a disgusting tone. Yi Hongchen heard this, and a cold light suddenly lit up in his blue eyes. No, mine is mine. Then there is nothing to talk about? Correct. Hearing Yi Hongchen's merciless words, Ning Shui and Yun Qingshui glanced at each other and stopped directly. Junior brother Yi, hurry up. We will break the queen for you. Ning Shui shouted towards Yi Bufan behind him. Yi Bufan heard the words and looked at the golden light less than 10 meters ahead, and his speed became faster. Senior Sister Ning, Senior Sister Yun, don't worry. I will definitely not let the two senior sisters down. Seeing Ning Shui who stopped to stop him, Yun Qingshui, Yi Hongchen's face hidden under Shura's mask suddenly sank. Okay, then don't blame me for being impolite. Yi Hongchen said coldly. Call. In the next moment, Yi Hongchen came directly to Ning Shui and Yun Qingshui and punched Ning Shui's abdomen hard. Hold head high. A dragon chant sounded from Ning Shui, and the next moment, Ning Shui flew out directly. A path was drawn on the sand, and blood slid down from the corner of her mouth. It was almost that Ning Shui hadn't recovered yet, and Yun Qingshui hadn't seen Yi Hongchen's movements at all. Catch your long hair and use it. After Yi Hongchen punched Fei Ning Shui, he said lightly to Yun Qingshui. In the next second, a blue long sword with five-pointed stars recessed in its body appeared directly in Yun Qingshui's eyes. Infinite zoom. The sound of the sword slammed through Yun Qingshui's ears, and the long hair behind him was directly cut off by the star sword. Yi Hongchen, dressed in a red and black Shura armor, passed by Yun Qingshui at a faster speed and instantly disappeared from everyone's eyes. Quite soon, Yun Qingshui couldn't help but said with some fear when he saw his long hair that had been cut off. The sword just now, if Hongchen was a little bit off, it was her throat that pierced it. The other side, Yi Bufan had already arrived in front of Jin Guang at the moment. With a smile of joy, he stretched out his hand to Jin Guang directly. The next moment, a big hand directly grabbed his outstretched hand, and a powerful force came from that hand. Yi Bufan suddenly fell towards the owner of that hand, but unfortunately, the person leaned slightly, and Yi Bufan fell directly to the ground. And that person, naturally Yi Hongchen, arrived when Yi Bufan was about to touch the golden light. This opportunity is not something Yi Bufan can get. "You're not worthy," Yi Hongchen said coldly to Yi Bufan, who was sitting on the sand. When the words fell, a white flame suddenly appeared in Yi Hongchen's hand, and he directly burned a piece of black hair in his hand. The next moment, blood-colored spiritual power was injected into that piece of long hair, and Yi Hongchen directly through the long hair, braving the white flame. Hoo-hoo-hoo. 20 meters of golden light, all filled with a white flame. Chapter 0160. The three who provoke the anger, 20 meters of golden light, all filled with a white flame. The hot temperature distorted the upper area. The extremely cold temperature has formed ice on the sandy ground. Like ice. It is the bilinghua that Yi Hongchen obtained in Wollongwan, ranking 6th in the Spirit Fire ranking. Seeing this, Yi Hongchen wanted to reach out and touch the golden light, but Yu Guang caught sight of Yi Bufan, who had just stood up, and stopped immediately. In the next second, Yi Hongchen kicked it directly, hitting Yi Bufan's body without any accident. Yi Bufan suffered Yi Hongchen's kick and flew out heavily, just to fly out of the circle surrounded by Bai Ling's cold fire. "Well, no one will bother me now." Yi Hongchen nodded in satisfaction, stretched out his hand, and touched the golden light. The next moment, a horrible suction appeared from the golden light, directly sucking Yi Hongchen into the golden light, suddenly disappeared in the entire sandcastle. Damn, my chance. After Yi Hongchen was sucked in by the golden light group, a young man rushed to the outside of the spirit fire, looked at the golden light inside, and howled sadly. Yours. Go in and get it." Others also rushed over. Their expressions were extremely ugly, and when they heard the boy's words, they kicked the boy's buttocks forcefully. After all, they couldn't get in, and there was a fire in their hearts long ago. As a result, they were howled by this young man. It's strange that he could hold back. The boy was kicked by him like this, completely unprepared, and plunged directly into Bai Ling's cold fire. Call. In just 5 seconds, the boy was burned to ashes directly in the sea of flames. At this scene, the people who were rushed over saw it, and suddenly, some unbearable hearts fell silent. No one dared to try. After all, the flame light was standing in front of him, and the heat was like burning on the body, and the chill was like freezing in the heart. Coupled with the fate of this young man, how can anyone dare to try? Someone inadvertently saw Yi Bufan, Ning Shui, and Yun King Shui, and suddenly smiles appeared on their faces. "Okay, it's the three of you. What's wrong with stealing? I want to steal the chance." "Steal. Keep stealing." The spear in his hand was dragged on the sand by him, and there was a rubbing sound. "Yes, it is because of the three of them that this guy can take advantage of it. Otherwise, he won't be able to get out. Damn it, you guys have a chance." After the words of the first person fell, one by one saw Yi Bufan, Ning Shui, and Yun King Shui. "Senior Sister Ning, what should I do now?" Yun King Shui asked, leaning on Ning Shui's back, enduring the fear in his heart. Ning Shui's mouth twitched when she heard the words. How would she know what to do? "These two are people from my absolute dust palace. Let me see who of you dares to move them." Just when Ning Shui and Yun King Shui didn't know what to do, a black ink stained her face came over. And the two people he said were Ning Shui and Yun King Shui, but they didn't include Yi Bufan. It can be seen that Yi Bufan also provokes Mo stain in the palace of Juechen. Since they are from absolute Qin Palace, they can be tolerated. But isn't this person anymore? A man with the cultivation level of Tiangang realm tilted his head and pointed to Yi Bufan on the other side and said, "Now the chance seems to be unavailable. so naturally they will not easily offend the second genius in Juechen Palace. Missouri ran. Mo Ran glanced at Yi Bufan with disdain in his eyes, shook his head, and said, "No, you are free." Chapter 0161. I lost. Why isn't he anymore? What he is wearing is the authentic costume of the inner disciple of Juechen Palace. After Ning Shui heard Mo Ran's words, she became dissatisfied and questioned Mo Ran. I saved you too because you are a disciple of the Night Palace Master. If you don't leave one to vent their anger, do you think we can get out? Don't know how to praise. Mo Ran looked at Ning Shui's eyes without fear and said coldly. Yi Hongchen didn't know what happened to Ning Shui, Yin Qingshui, and Yi Bufan after he was sucked in by Jingguang. At this moment, he has come to a golden hall. In the center of the hall, there's a white spear floating impressively. After approaching, Yi Hongchen discovered that a miniature white dragon was engraved on the gun body. Lifelike. I don't know the rank of the spear. Yi Hongchen looked at the white spear with some doubts. Reaching out his hand, Yi Hongchen wanted to pick up the white spear. As a result, a white light fell from the sky above the golden hall. The goal is the location of Yi Hongchen. Upon seeing this, Yi Hongchen quickly held the white spear in the palm of his hand and moved his feet, pulling his whole person straight back. Boom! Yi Hongchen, who had just retreated, had a big pit directly in front of him. It was a spear that caused this situation. If you want to take a white dragon spear, you have to use a spear to defeat me. A middle-aged man, picking up the spear stuck on the ground, said coldly towards Yi Hongchen. The appearance of the middle-aged man really surprised Yi Hongchen, because his body and the spear in his hand were both phantoms. Converged by white light, through his body, Yi Hongchen could even see the scenery behind him. Interesting. Yi Hongchen held the Xingqian sword's hand loose, and the Shura ring suddenly lit up with a red light, and put the Xingqian sword in. Originally holding the white dragon spear in his left hand, he has now switched to his right hand. Yi Hongchen looked at the phantom and asked faintly, "Who are you?" "I'm the spear's spirit of the Bailong spear. Be careful." After the middle-aged phantom said, he shot Yi Hongchen directly. At the next moment, 6 white spears appeared beside him inexplicably, killing them together. 6 by 1. It's really tricky. Yi Hongchen couldn't help but exclaimed when he saw it, and his expression became serious. But I'm not bad. When the words fell, Yi Hongchen moved his feet, and a faint red light appeared on his body and disappeared immediately. Call. Appearing again, it was already behind Bailong's spear and spear spirit, and quickly stabbed a shot. Unexpectedly, the back of the head of the spear spirit seemed to have eyes, and he suddenly turned around and shook Yi Hongchen's spear with one shot. Then a shot pierced Yi Hongchen, accompanied by those 6 white spears. Bang! 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 When the 6 white spears touched Yi Hongchen's body, they suddenly turned into a bunch of air currents and disappeared in front of Yi Hongchen. In the next moment, the phantom spear in the middle-aged man's hand was directly in front of Yi Hongchen's throat. Quick, very fast, from shooting the long spear of the white dragon, to using 6 white spears to attack Yi Hongchen, and finally to the movement of the spear in front of his throat. It didn't take more than a second. It seems that he did it in 1 second, and he still stabbed 8 times in a row. Yi Hongchen didn't react at all. I lost. Yi Hongchen stuck the white dragon spear to the ground and said lightly, since he lost, then he was not qualified to master the white dragon spear. This is what the spear spirit said. You have another chance. Chapter 0162. Challenging the spear spirit again. You have another chance. The middle-aged phantom put down the spear against Yi Hongchen's throat and said coldly. When the words fell, he immediately backed away and didn't stop until he was 20 meters away from Yi Hongchen. The golden ground is like a mirror, reflecting Yi Hongchen's face in a red and black mask. Yi Hongchen looked at herself at her feet, her eyes full of warfare, and her right hand was tightly gripped on the Bailong spear. Okay, Yi Hongchen doesn't believe me. I can't control a long spear. The tip of the gun touched the golden ground, and Yi Hongchen slowly closed his eyes. What emerged in my mind were the previous posture, speed, and posture of the middle-aged man, swinging the gun. The middle-aged man still had a straight face. His feet quickly stepped out, and he rushed towards Yi Hongchen again. This time, instead of using the last trick, he carried the spear behind him. As he approached Yi Hongchen, the spear behind his back suddenly bent down, slashed from his waist, and quickly pierced Yi Hongchen's abdomen. The action just now turned out to be a fake. At this time, Yi Hongchen's closed eyes slowly opened, and his feet moved slightly. Call! The gun spirit pierced Yi Hongchen's abdomen with a single shot, but that Yi Hongchen gradually dissipated. Obviously, it is an afterimage. The spear's expression didn't change, and he seemed to swept in the right direction at random. In the next moment, Yi Hongchen in an Azura armor appeared directly on the right, and the spear swept by the spear's spirit attacked him. With a move of the white dragon spear in Yi Hongchen's hand, it pressed against the tip of the spear's spirit with unparalleled accuracy and lifted it up forcefully. The spear of the spear's spirit was like the white dragon spear of Yi Hongchen before, throwing upwards. The next moment, the Bailong's spear suddenly shook, and in front of Yi Hongchen, 6 blood-colored spears appeared inexplicably. Kill! Yi Hongchen pierced the Bailong's spear, moved quickly under his feet, and stabbed towards the spear's spirit. The 6 blood-colored spears followed Yi Hongchen with a single shot, and the speed was faster than that of Yi Hongchen. This move is impressively the one used by the spear spirit to deal with Yi Hongchen. Upon seeing the gun spirit, there was a slight change in his stern face, but he quickly recovered his calm. The spear that was thrown up by Yi Hongchen was actually pulled back by the spear's spirit and fell towards the door of Yi Hongchen's face. What? Yi Hongchen was slightly startled when he felt a blast from above him. The next moment, with one move, he once again displayed his body as light as a swallow, avoiding the top-down shot of the spear's spirit. Boom! The golden floor actually cracked under a shot from the gun spirit. Yi Hongchen stood beside the crack, and the 6 blood-colored spears that had originally appeared in front of him also dissipated. Sora has an appearance, but has no strength and is flashy. Gun Ling said coldly. In the next second, the phantom spear that was still pressed by him on the golden ground was swept toward Yi Hongchen's heel again. Yi Hongchen hurriedly put the Bailong spear in front of him, and the spear spirit's spear directly hit the Bailong spear. At this time, the spear of the gun spirit suddenly stood upright, and the middle-aged man directly kicked Yi Hongchen's body with the help of the spear of the spear. Yi Hongchen took the Bailong spear back more than 10 steps, just stabilized his figure. The spear's spirit holding the spear had already stabbed him in front of him. Yi Hongchen hurriedly bowed down, and the spear's spirit shot directly over Yi Hongchen. Good chance. Seeing the spear's spirit rushing past him, Yi Hongchen quickly stood up straight. A burst of blood appeared under his feet and kicked the spear's spirit fiercely. Dragon Shadow. Chapter 0163. Unstoppable Spear Intent Dragon Shadow. Call. A burst of air broke into the ears of the gun spirit, and the gun spirit directly put the spear on the ground and jumped onto the gun body. Yi Hongchen kicked the gunling's spear fiercely, and the spear was thrown back suddenly. But the spear spirit was as expected, holding one hand on the back of the gun, and with the strength of Yi Hongchen's foot just now, causing the spear to rotate 180 degrees. Smashed Yi Hongchen's head fiercely. Seeing this, Yi Hongchen couldn't help shrinking his blue eyes, holding his hands on the gun body, and blocking his head horizontally. When the two spears collided, a harsh sound suddenly sounded in the Golden Hall. The powerful force directly caused Yi Hongchen's legs to bend a little, and the spear of the spear's spirit pressed against the spear of the Bailong spear in Yi Hongchen's hand. The response is good, but unfortunately, you didn't specialize in guns, otherwise you would have some tricks, and you would have won me. The spear spirit looked at Yi Hongchen, who was still supporting his spear, and said with some regret. And what he said was true. Yi Hongchen himself was a kendo major, and his spear skills had never been touched. That's why I want this white dragon spear. After Yi Hongchen finished speaking, the legs that were originally slowly bent began to slowly straighten up. What? Yi Hongchen yelled, her bare hands. Her veins violently fluttered away suddenly. At the moment when Yi Hongchen suddenly exerted force, The spear's spirit flew with the spear. Give me defeat. Yi Hongchen held the white dragon spear with his left hand and jumped directly, stabbing the spear's spirit flying in the air. Wow! A sound of dragon chanting sounded from the white dragon spear in Yi Hongchen's hand. In the next moment, with Yi Hongchen's whole person as a guide, a long white dragon turned out directly, killing the spear's spirit. What? Wu Shuang's spear intent. Upon seeing this, the spear's spirit almost stared out and said, coming out. However, his spear spirit is not fake. He quickly put his posture. His feet are slightly above the void, and his whole person is facing Yi Hongchen, who has turned into a white dragon. Boom! The white dragon collided with the spear tip of the spear spirit, and a terrifying air current directly swept the entire golden hall. The 4 golden pillars that had originally stood around were directly shattered by this air current. Yi Hongchen and the spear spirit actually stood in a stalemate in the air. Neither side backed up a bit. They were all fighting spirit power. No. If you continue like this, even if you win the spear spirit, you'll not be able to beat the people outside with the remaining spiritual power outside. Yi Hongchen looked at the spear spirit in front of him, and after feeling that the spiritual power of the blood pill in his body had been reduced by more than half, he secretly said. The next moment, Yi Hongchen's spear suddenly retracted, and when he turned his back behind him, his whole person suddenly leaned a bit, rushing towards the spear spirit. The gun spirit didn't expect that Yi Hongchen didn't continue to fight with him, stabbing forward with a straight shot. Just in time, Yi Hongchen's body was in the right position, and the spear spirit pierced the sky, and Yi Hongchen smoothly came behind him. Not good. Gun Ling said secretly in his heart. It's a pity it's too late. The white dragon spear that Yi Hongchen carried on his back suddenly stabbed back. Pushed out fiercely, the spear's spirit was directly passed through the body of the phantom by the white dragon spear and brought to the ground. Yi Hongchen folded his hands and opened it again in the next moment. More than 20 bloody spears suddenly appeared in front of him. The next moment, like a machine gun, it quickly stabs towards the spear's spirit on the ground. Boom, boom, boom. More than 20 scarlet spears all hit the spear spirit. Yi Hongchen's lips fell pale on the golden ground. Chapter 0164. Time spear. Just with such a trick, the blood pill in Yi Hongchen's body was only close to 40%. Wu Shuang spear intent. I didn't expect that you, a person who has just practiced spears, suddenly understood the spear intent. Really, a genius of Tianzong. The body of the spear spirit passed through the Bailong spear and stood up, looking at Yi Hongchen's eyes, full of shock. Yi Hongchen finally showed a faint smile on his face when he heard the words and said, "Then I don't know. Can I hold the white dragon spear now?" Naturally, the spear is Hao Yin. I have seen the new master. Hao Yin knelt on one knee, arched his hand to Yi Hongchen, and said respectfully. Seeing this, Yi Hongchen calmly accepted the salute of the spear Ling Hao Yin, walked over slowly, and picked up the white dragon spear again. Hao Yin spear spirit. I just have some questions. What is the quality of this white dragon spear? Yi Hongchen crossed the white dragon with his finger on the gun and asked with some doubts. Holding this white dragon spear in his hand directly gave Yi Hongchen a feeling of giving up to me, making him a little curious. The white dragon spear is made from the essence of the white dragon keel, and its hardness is comparable to that of the dragon's claws. There's also a dragon soul in the gun. It is the white dragon soul. Jianling Haotian walked to Yi Hongchen and said slowly, "White dragon soul. Then why didn't I feel it?" Yi Hongchen heard the words and released his spiritual sense to detect the white dragon spear, but Mao didn't even notice it. The soul of the white dragon is still very weak. I used to fight as super strong with a white dragon spear master. Unfortunately, the white dragon soul was hardly noticed. The last white dragon spear master was beaten up and finally exhausted all his cultivation skills to build this small golden palace. Looking at the magnificent hall, Hao Yin looked a little lonely, and there was even a little sadness in his eyes. Obviously, he has a pretty good relationship with the previous Bailong gun owner. Then the last white dragon gun owner only left the white dragon spear? didn't the spear skills remain? Yi Hongchen frowned slightly, and he couldn't take a shot with a gun. He really only left the white dragon spear, but he has completely taught the old man his spear skills. Hearing Yi Hongchen's words, Hao Qian glared at Yi Hongchen and said angrily. After finishing speaking, he stretched out his index finger directly and pressed it against the center of Yi Hongchen's eyebrows. A white light appeared from his fingertips and injected into the center of Yi Hongchen's eyebrows. Yi Hongchen did not resist, and a white group suddenly appeared in the place where he knew the sea, and his consciousness went directly in. In the next moment, a few white coats appeared in Yi Hongchen's mind. Time marksmanship. After the 4 characters appeared, Yi Hongchen fell directly into the content behind, and his body unconsciously held the white dragon spear. Self-consciously waved in the golden hall, stabbed, retracted. The tip of the spear hit the ground. The next second, Yi Hongchen jumped, and the spear moved. Wow! A small white dragon instantly appeared in front of Yi Hongchen, passing through a golden pillar on the main hall. Boom! Bai Long got in the golden pillar, and there was no direct change in the golden pillar. Instead, after 5 seconds, from the original sturdy appearance, it began to become worn out. In just about 20 seconds, the golden pillar had fallen, split, and shattered by itself. It seems that it has gone through a long period of time, unable to withstand the invasion of the years, and rotted away. Yi Hongchen slowly opened his eyes, and the body that was originally suspended in the air slowly fell, gently falling onto the ground. The change of the golden pillar was instantly caught in Yi Hongchen's eyes, and his eyes couldn't help but feel a little horrified. This time marksmanship is so powerful. Chapter 0165. Leaving the Golden Hall, the marksmanship of these years is so mysterious. Yi Hongchen murmured slightly while looking at the golden pillar in front of him. The spear method of time can break people and things. As long as it is a thing of life, it can pierce its years. Years, in short, is lifespan. Yi Hongchen's shot just made the golden pillar's shen disappear for 500 years. This is also Yi Hongchen's current limit, 500 years. That is the lifespan of the golden core repairer. In other words, as long as a cultivator in the golden core period, no matter what the cultivation base, as long as he is shot by Yi Hongchen, he can completely wait for death in peace. It's not bad. You can use it as soon as you realize it, and it's directly at the 3rd level. Hao Qian walked to Yi Hongchen's side, also a little surprised, and praised Yi Hongchen without hesitation. There are 9 levels of marksmanship. By the way, since the marksmanship of these years is so against the sky, why did the previous generation of Bai Long spear masters still die? After Yi Hongchen felt the mystery of the marksmanship of the years, he was a little curious. After all, from Hao Qian's words, we can know that the previous generation of white dragon spear owners may have practiced their marksmanship to the 9th level. That's a man who killed a man with a lifespan of nearly 10,000 years. There are people who can match it and even kill him. Hey, although the marksmanship is strong, it is ultimately limited and the speed is not so fast. Naturally, someone can avoid it, or the lifespan will be enough. Hearing Yi Hongchen's words, Hao Qian became a little helpless, and his expression fell again. The person who killed the last white dragon spear owner was a fierce god who didn't hesitate to buckle and was extremely domineering. When Hao Qian mentioned that person, there was a touch of fear on his face, even if it was just a memory. Ferocious god? Who is that? He was able to kill the Bai Long spear master. Yi Hongchen was even more curious when he saw this. The White Dragon Spear Lord was only ranked 3rd among the great emperors back then, and that fierce god, but all the great emperors could not necessarily win together. Named Shura Demon Lord. When Yi Hongchen heard the words, the corners of his mouth twitched, and he couldn't help but sneered, and then changed the subject. Hao Qian Spear Spirit, you haven't told me.
No more novels? Take part in the voting. The most requested novels and those with the most likes will be chosen for publication on euroaudiobooks.com. There, I can upload as much as I want without the risk of receiving a strike. Our 18 novels and other content that exceed what is morally acceptable are only published on Patreon or the free novels page. Remember, The site is funded by donations on Ko-fi and Patreon memberships.